Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 336 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka here in the Barstool Sports podcast family. The band is already back together. We just toured Manhattan, thought we were going to be off for the rest of the year. Nope. Biz called an audible late last night, jumped on a red eye. Here we are at North Station, looking out over the nice Bunker Hills Aiken Bridge. We're here for a live stream watch party, Game 4 at Hurricanes tonight and Saturday. But let's say hi to the boys first, get acclimated. G, producer, what's up, buddy? A little trip for you?
I'm ready for war. Frankie brought his friends, now I got mine. I got my boys here, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready for war with you boys.
We going to the mattresses?
Yes.
I'll make some calls. Paul, Biz Nasty, Bissonette. You're going to be a Boston resident. You've been here so much. You love this town. What made you decide abruptly, I need to be here for the series?
Fuck the Leafs. I didn't want to suck my thumb in Scottsdale. I came here to represent the Bruins. I'm jumping on this bandwagon. Look at, I did my part. I got my Leaf socks on. I did what I could. Figure it the fuck out, Leafs. I'm off the bandwagon. You guys figure out your shit.
Your crusty socks for the red-eye cross-country. The Leafs. What a joke. I'm sorry to just interrupt before you introduce me, Ari. I know you like to do that, but it's great to talk to everyone. Biz, I appreciate you coming out here. Grinnelli, these live streams, I needed to be involved, so I'm glad he wanted to come. I'm glad RA wanted to get it going, and it's fair. It's fair it's coming to Boston because you guys are at war with all these lunatic Islanders fans in Borelli's serving no pasta, which was the craziest but one of the funnier moves I've ever seen. And now he's coming to Boston.
He's coming to Boston.
That little rat. That little pizza man, Frankie Borelli, is going to have no help, and he's got all of us jumping on the bandwagon.
Oh, he's not bringing Stu?
Nope.
Stu ain't coming?
Nope.
Oh,
he's getting
goodness.
thrown into the lion's den alone.
He could get he's a sociopath, though, when he's watching the game. He's a sick puppy, so I think that you could see him maybe throw hands at one point.
Yeah, Frankie is a madman. Like, I can't imagine sitting next to him for an entire game. But, yeah, he doesn't have it. He has no backup here.
It's all real, too. The crazy thing is people say it's fake. It's so real, which is insane. He's like shaking during the game.
Yeah, he cares more than the players do. It's a fact.
Do we have to lead off with this fucking Leafs game or what?
Yeah. And a possible surgery that's involved.
I'm not getting my foreskin chopped off. That was on a live stream. I think I was under the influence of Pink Whitney. I'm not taking responsibility for that claim. Yes, did I double down on it when they were up 3-1? I did. And they fucking choked. And their players who are getting paid a lot of money didn't fucking show up. And they're going to have to hear it, and they're going to have to be the butt of the joke on Twitter for the next 2 fucking weeks. I've been hearing it from everybody. Habs fans, I doubted you. Congratulations on a very well-played series and riding the only current player making more than $10 million a year on contract, correct, Ari?
Remaining in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's still in the playoffs. Yeah, just the second ever Game 7 between the two teams. Toronto beat them back in 64. The Habs went 3-1. Carey Price, aces, stopped 30 of 31 shots. Third Game 7 when he ties Ken Dryden, Canadiens legend. Price stopped 103 of 109 shots in Games 5 through 7 for a .945 save percentage. The 30th 3-1 comeback in history, NHL history. It was Montreal's third. They move on to the second round for the first time since 2015. Huge upset. Like I said, Toronto's crying. They're weeping. Mana's and Matthew, 1 goal. Matthews and Mana, 1 goal in the playoffs. Mana hasn't scored in 18 playoff games. They lost Tavares. They had no Muzzin. Foligno was injured, but still, no excuses, man. They choked. The 3-1 lead, and they choked.
They had the 3-1 series lead. It's like, how many times is this team going to disappoint Leafs fans? It's inevitable every single year. I believe in 29 days, it'll be the record for the longest Stanley Cup drought in NHL history. In 17 years since they got out of the first round. And the biggest issue is that this year, this past offseason, they actually made some changes that everyone had been calling for years. They need toughness. Let's get Simmons. Thornton's willing to play that way. They added guys who are willing to get in your face. Muzzin was a great signing on D. They got Muzzin there. They got TJ Brody was their best signing this summer, right? And still, 3-1 lead against the Canadiens, who I think they were 7-3 against in the regular season, and they can't close it out. How many games in a row do they have a chance to end a series now, and they've lost? 8? 8 straight closeout opportunities?
I think
0 for fucking 8? Like, well, my biggest question, and you mentioned these guys making big dough and not playing the way that they played in the regular season and need to play in the
They progressively throughout the series got worse, and I'll say this. In Game 7, I think Marner set up Hyman probably for 2, maybe 3 grade A opportunities. Okay, Hyman's a top 6 guy. Marner's his job is to create those opportunities. He did have the turnover; it went the other way. So yeah, all in all, they didn't produce in games 5, 6, and 7 to the level where they needed to. You got to think 2 guys in the lineup making $10 or more million a year. They have to take over one of those games to just seal out round 1. And even if they lose round 2, I think at least Leaf fans are saying, hey, we got some progress here. These guys are figuring out how to win.
Just a little progress is all they want.
I mean, they had cup aspirations, though, man. I think it's a failure.
And everybody's like, oh, it's the same thing every year. No, they were hands down the best team in the North. Montreal backed into playoffs. I thought the additions that Toronto made were even better than Montreal's. I mean, well, I guess looking back, yes, Eric Stahl was probably worth a 3rd rounder, and I'm taking another fucking L on my forehead because he ended up having another one tonight. But
on a sick dish from Perry, another off. He didn't have a contract the night before the season started.
And there's another one that was getting laughed off stage, but guess what? Big games, big players, and he got it done, and the big boys for the Leafs didn't. And
isn't it crazy, though, that I mean, Marner, 18 games, so in the playoffs without a goal. And this guy during the regular season, he finished 4th in the league in scoring. He, at times, looked like one of the best players in the world, which I think he is at the top of his game. But what the hell's going on now? And you can't say it's not mental and he's not thinking about it when he gets to the postseason. I don't understand. And the flipping the puck over the glass penalties you talked about, 5 of them, it's like, where's the poise? Where's that patience that you show with your vision and your ability to just slow down the play all regular season when you make it look so easy? And something now, whether it's pressure, I don't think he'd ever say that, but it's like you cannot make that money and play that way in the playoffs in any city, let alone there, and think that life's going to be easy because now it doesn't really matter what they do in the regular season. And the whole thing is, what do they do now? And so I felt awful. I felt awful for Jack Campbell because he came out and said right away it was the worst goal he's ever given up in his life. It was a horrible goal. But like you said, Marner turned it over trying to be fancy at the blue line. Like maybe when you're struggling, just chip it in, man. Go get it back. I know it's not really his game. He's able to control the puck when he enters the zone all the time. But Game 7, dude, chip it in, turns it over back of the net. So I just, as somebody like from the outside looking in, like Leafs fans, like it's hard to imagine people not just like jump and ship. I know that doesn't happen often, but what the fuck?
Well, people are burning jerseys. Somebody burnt a Gilmore jersey.
What did he do wrong?
Yeah, what did he
Nothing.
do? I mean,
he went to Twitter. He said, "Hey, donate the thing." There's a lot of charities right now struggling for money right now, so do the right thing. But no burning of the jerseys. I kept the socks. Look.
They're fucking stand up on their own. Going back to Corey Perry, that was his 9th ever Game 7, 4th Game 7 goal. And the other move, too, Dom Duchamp, the Montreal coach, he got a lot of criticism for his roster moves throughout the series. He puts Jake Evans in for Thomas Tatar with Denault and Gallagher, and they shut that line down absolutely. They got the job done on both ends of the ice. Great decision. Great job by that guy. Also, because Toronto was out, we now know who's going to play in the Stanley Cup. The winner of Tampa Bay, Carolina, will play the winner of the Islanders, Boston, and the winner of Vegas, Colorado, which is 2-2 late in the second right now. We're recording Wednesday night late. They will play the winner of Montreal, Winnipeg. So it could end up, could end up being East-West after all whip, but Montreal, Game 1 tonight. Should we jump right into that?
Yeah, and obviously we got to get to the end of the game. Now, this game, Montreal came out firing, and I think a lot of people looked at it as it was going to be the way Colorado took it to Vegas, right? Vegas has this tough 7-game series. They travel, boom, shit kicking. And I thought Winnipeg would be kind of similar, but Montreal got out to a quick lead. Perry, an unreal assist to Stahl. He got buried making a play, taking a hit to make a play.
Yeah, sweet chin music.
But at the end of the game, we got a hit. And first off, what we always say, at least I think we've all agreed to this, like, you see a player get hurt like that, it's brutal. You right away, I think back to the times I saw it, and you hope to God that Evans is okay. It's his birthday. It's his first ever playoff goal. He sealed the deal, but he's injured. Looking at the hit, though, give him charging, and if he gets suspended a game, I don't really mind it. He is trying, and Mark Scheifele, who I'm talking about, obviously, he's trying to make sure that guy doesn't score. He's skating to eliminate the man, and Jake Evans didn't look one time. If you're wheeling around the net trying to stuff in an empty netter to seal the game, there's 6 guys backtracking, man. And the onus is never on the player anymore. And like I said, like it's awful to see him hurt. But Scheifele has his feet on the ground. He hits him with his shoulder in the chest. Evans is kneeled over a little bit. And in the end, it was a horrible, horrible result. But if that guy isn't injured, we're not even talking about the hit. And I know that people go nuts. I don't give a fuck. But I'm looking at that hit. It's a guy trying to keep his team alive in a playoff game. Charging, yes. 8-game suspension I'm seeing for people. Like, what are you talking about?
I could see 2 games. The only other argument is people would say, why didn't he lead with the stick? If he's trying to prevent the goal, why didn't he lead with the stick?
That's a legit argument as well.
You're making that decision in like a blink of an eye, and you just finish a back check, and you don't have enough oxygen going in your brain to make a split second decision the right way. Sometimes he didn't leave his feet. It wasn't late because by the time
it's not late,
not at all.
The puck had just left his stick. Yeah, I guess you can get him for a vicious charge and maybe not a sportsman-like play, but within the rules of the rule book, I don't know. I probably wouldn't suspend him, and if that happens, it's going to be a fucking media circus. It's going to be if he does not get a game, it's going to be a media circus just based on the social volume right off the hop, because obviously we pay attention to that, right? But I'm looking at it and I'm saying
there was a lot of people saying though it
right away though. Edmondson says the league's going to take care of it, and when he gets back, which I would assume he probably gets a game or 2, and he will be back in the series. They're gonna handle it in house, which we've seen in other cases.
I think he said we'll make his life hell.
Yeah, well,
and then Paul Maurice comes out and says the players will handle it on the ice. There's no way someone would be dumb enough to mention doing something in the next game. You know what I mean? I think his quote I just butchered, but you know what I'm saying. You don't come out and say that, because then they can get you for a long suspension in terms of knowing it was premeditated. Yeah, exactly. Now the issue is Scheifele. They're down 1-0. They need their best player. So I don't know if he does get 2 games. I think a game, but. We'll see. We'll see the world burn if he doesn't get anything. It'll be hilarious.
Yeah, What's your guess, all right?
They just got within a goal. There was a minute and a half left in the game. He hit him with a minute left. He's trying to prevent a game-sealing goal there. You could say he didn't go for the puck. Well, it's what's he going to do? Hit it the other way, whack it out? Maybe he thought burying him at that point was going to prevent the goal. It's so fucking close, and everybody zap root is it. They go frame by frame. But when you're watching real speed, man, yeah, maybe in his mind, if I bury him, that's not going to go in. We go the other way. We tie the game. I don't fucking fault him too much for it. And 5 and a 10, I thought that was excessive. I mean, he did charge, even though he did kind of let up a couple strides before. I don't think he should get more than a game. I mean, you guys played, but I watched old school hockey. I just thought this is the NHL, man, and so many people are fucking crying about it, but it's the best league in the world. These guys do anything they can to win, and that's what we see sometimes. Like Whit said, if he gets right up, it's probably not a big deal. The stretcher comes out and it looks pretty dramatic. I mean, his limbs are moving right away. He's probably conked, but the guy might have done the same thing if he was in the other position. And, he's a tough player. We will obviously wish him well. But I don't think Scheifele was trying to kill him. I thought he was trying to prevent the goal. And, yeah, it's a fucking NHL playoff series.
You think if he bounces up there, nobody's saying a goddamn word, and the game manager...
I think everyone's going, what a hit.
Yeah, people are praising Scheifele if that happens.
There'll be a skirmish after whatever, but I don't think people are going as nuts as they are.
If he hopped up and celebrated the goal in the corner, nothing would be discussed. And here's the thing is why are you not picking your head up? I don't know, man. I know it's a different game, but you're coming around the net. You're down a man. What do you think's going to happen? Where do you think everyone? Do you think everyone just went for a change, dude? This game's alive.
Yeah, people I
hate to make it seem like you're giving it to a guy who's injured, because awesome goal, and I hope he's okay. But in terms of looking at the play, it's a charge, but you have to protect yourself, dude. It doesn't matter what year you're playing hockey. Get your head up and know who's out there and know what's going on. That's what it comes down to.
So you're basically at this point saying give him a game or 2 for being unsportsmanlike?
For charging.
Okay.
And the injury, because the injury obviously.
But here's the reason why I have a hard time with charging. He's trying to be the first guy back.
Okay,
yeah, he's back.
Is he supposed to stop? Or
okay?
People said he also stopped moving his feet at the hash marks. It's Yeah, well, he might have thought he was going to meet him before he got to the front of the net. Like, I don't know what he was thinking, but he was back checking.
Yeah, he skated 180 feet because he was trying to prevent the goal.
Like charging to me would be like another guy on another guy's check and another guy leaving his check in order to go take a run at the chance at the perfect time. He does turn around and he gets him square. Kind of like you were talking about Army's hit, where he would come off the
That's how he would bury people.
That's right.
But listen, Elliot Friedman tweeted, from Rule 42.1, charging shall mean the actions of a player who, as a result of distance traveled, shall violently check an opponent in any manner. A charge may be the result of a check into the boards, into the goal frame, or an open ice. So what he says is that gives the Department of Player Safety wide latitude because that description is what he did. So that is the thing in terms of him getting suspended for the charge. It's just the hit. That was not a head hit. That was a guy bent over.
And it also wasn't late. And it also wasn't late because I heard a lot of people on Twitter, it's late. No, it's not.
It was hard, vicious, sportsmanship, whatever. But again, it's the NHL playoffs. Guys are doing whatever they can to win.
Yeah.
I don't think it was dirty, man. It was trying to prevent the goddamn goal. What you mentioned, Pink Whitney, a few minutes ago. Obviously, you're the guy it's named after. Well, if you haven't bought them yet, the new 375 milliliter Pink Whitney Mickeys. They're all over the place. Canada loves them. They fit right perfectly in your back pocket going to a concert. We don't tell you to do that, but if you do, you do. Great for the pregame, the after party, everything in between. Summer's here. Weather's hot. Enjoy a nice, cool Pink Whitney on the rocks.
Don't panic, Dubas. Hang on to the young guys. Took Ovi 14 years?
Yeah, took a while, yeah.
Hey, but here's the only problem, though.
What are they?
You only sign them for 5-year extensions. Come on, Dubes.
What are they going to do?
Come on, Dubas.
What'll be different in Toronto next year? I'm interested.
Yeah, what do they do?
Call me, Dubes.
They got their D set. They got Riley, Muzzin, and Brody back, and up front, I don't know. I think Spezza deserves a chance to come back.
Yeah, he had a great
year. Said, I don't know if he said he wants to, but bring him back. He played excellent. Simmons is a 1-year deal. I don't know. It's just it's a very, very interesting time because this was the team. This was the year. They had the North. They had the easy in to the Final Four, and Leafs fans again. I saw that Steve Dangle. There was about 400,000 views on his video post-game.
That poor kid,
poor bastard.
Meltdown,
He must have ulcers on top of ulcers, that kid.
Yeah. MLSC is going to pay for his mental rehab and my foreskin getting chopped off. Thanks a lot, Dubas. Shanny, call me.
So, Winnipeg. Montreal, Winnipeg, the last series, we hadn't given our predictions yet, or at least made them public. I think we all had Winnipeg.
I had Winnipeg in 6.
I had Montreal in 7.
Did you?
I did.
Okay. Well, obviously it was the late series.
You went off Montreal after picking them first round?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Dance with the girl that brought you, all that stuff. I just think, Winnipeg, obviously they lost the first game tonight. I just think they're a little bit more complete. Hellebuck, he's obviously not better than Price. I don't know if Montreal can do it twice in a row. They got a great start, but yeah, I took Winnipeg. I don't know if I said 6 or 7. I'd have to check my laptop, but I did pick Winnipeg. Merle's had Winnipeg as well. So
I had Winnipeg in 5 because I thought that they'd be rested, ready to go.
I thought it was going to be a game 1 shit
but
kicking.
RA brought up a good point while we were watching game 1. I think where were we at? Grinders? What was the place called?
No, that's the app you go on your phone.
Yeah.
It was Rafters.
Banners.
You even fucked it up, you asshole. But you said Toronto didn't beat them up. That wasn't a series where they had to claw their way out of. It was they were structurally sound.
Yeah.
They were backtracking well. Like, that's what I noticed the most about that game 7, especially in the second period. And that's why I tweeted out, I said, play the vets more. I want them to play Spezza, Thornton, Foligno more because the pace wasn't crazy. They were winning every 50-50 battle in the neutral zone. Every time there was a 50-50 puck where 2 sticks were meeting, it just seemed that Montreal would push the puck forward. They would gain lines, gain zones.
The first goal, it was just like...
Yeah, and then it was like, oh my goodness, they're down 1, and you could just sense their confidence just crumbled. But I don't know how we got back onto the Leafs. What were we talking about before that?
I think we just saw your socks.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we jumped back to the Winnipeg-Montreal series. But yeah,
back to my personal health.
Well, no, we were tying it in because they said Montreal didn't get physically get beat up with Toronto. They just, it wasn't like they played St. Louis or something. So they were probably footloose and fancy free tonight.
And how about this key? How about this key? And I mentioned it, I think, before Game 7. No contributions from the Montreal back end. And I think they got 2 points from them in Game 7 against the Leafs. And tonight, I think they had, 6
They had 6 before the empty netter. I don't know if the D-man got an assist on that goal by Evans.
Assist for fucking getting his teammate's face caved in.
It was a sick effort. Petrie's pass on the first goal. Oh, my God. Kotkaniemi, just this tap-in, slap pass, an awesome play.
What's the stat? Pull it up, G, for as far as goals before hitting the age of 21, as far as centers of the
hold on, let me go to Bing and pull that one up. Jesus Christ.
That's a tough one to find on the
fly,
Did you say
dude. Centers 21 and under?
Yeah, I threw a lot at you there.
What was the other play? Maybe Shea Weber's first breakaway ever in the NHL? They shut down McDavid, but they're giving up breakaways to Shea Weber. So I don't know. That led to a goal. I don't really know. Like, Winnipeg did not have their A game. Maybe that's an example of Montreal's just feeling it right now. They got a goalie in net who looks unbeatable. And I think with their confidence in beating Toronto, they just went in there loose. What'd you say? All right, loosey-goosey. There was nothing holding them back tonight.
Plus, there's the magic, like I said before, pulling on that sweater in the playoffs. We talked about it with Nylon.
Yep.
I know it's just they pull that on and they play their best hockey and Price.
I'll get my foreskin chopped off if Bergevin or Bergevin or whatever you call him on this podcast gets a piss test.
No more foreskin bets, Biz. This is not going to end well for you.
Foreskins, yeah, we can't talk about it anymore.
All right.
Gallagher just said that Scheifele knows better than making that hit. It's like, Gallagher's been known to be pretty vicious on the ice. What's he doing to try to save an empty net goal?
I've seen that Bisson go for a few fingers once in a while.
And I understand every Montreal player is going to be furious, right? They see their teammate down and hurt, and you're going to back your guy. But I don't know. I'm very interested to see how Parros handles this one.
I say 2 games.
All right, I say 1.
Yeah, I say 1 too. And even that, I'm like, I'm not really fully endorsing. But, all right, moving right along. The reason Biz is here, the Islanders-Bruins. Game 2 was Monday night. The Islanders tied the series with a thrilling 4-3 overtime win. Me and Whit were both in the building. Very entertaining game. Very raucous garden. It was highly entertaining. Casey Zizekas on a breakaway after Jerry Miller's pass got deflected right to him. Sent him in all alone. He beats Tuukka, who I thought was good but not great. I wasn't crazy about the Palmieri goal. He looks a little slow. I guess he is injured. I mean, they're saying he's going to play tomorrow night, though, tonight, Thursday. But I guess he's been a little bit dinged up. Either way, he got outplayed by Varlamov, was 5-1 versus the Bruins this year. What else did you see, Whit?
Not surprised Varlamov started, right? With the first game effort and the way they've gone back and forth, and he was great. And to see Coyle score that first goal, he looks unreal. Not just because of the goal.
Thought it was over after that.
Yeah. What's his name? Haggerty's tweeting series done. I was like, what's this guy talking about? It's 5 minutes in the game, too. And of course, they end up losing the game. What are you talking about? So I think that seeing Coyle score that goal and being in that building and feeling the crowd, if they had made it 2-0, maybe you're looking at a completely different game. But the Islanders were able to just do their thing and hang in there and bend but not break. And sure as shit, the game changes. And I think you're right. I think in the end, they got 4 goals. 3 of them were pretty lucky. Yeah. The one went off Lauzon's skate and in. I think that was Bailey's.
Yeah, and then the other one, like a guy wide open in front.
Yeah, the Palmieri one was so bizarre. Like that was like a weird bounce. I don't really know what went down there. And at the end, it goes off Charlie Coyle's skate. The pass across Lauzon was trying to make. And I mean, if you're a Bruins fan, no offense whatsoever, but if one Islander's on the breakaway, you're kind of hoping it's Zizekas or Martin. I mean, it's not a chirp. No, it's like fourth line guy, and he's sick shot.
Although it's crazy how much they just roll them.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's like let's go.
I was sitting with a guy.
4 lines.
I was sitting with a kid, and he's like, Matt Martin, how long has he been on the Islanders? I'm like, he was on their team for a while, but then he went to Toronto, and he was bought out, and they brought him back, and they just know exactly how to play him. And I watched him. He's out there a good amount. He's big. He gets in the mix. And for some reason, well, not for some reason, they trust their fourth line knowing they will not give up chances. There's no sort of like responsibility factor that makes the coach think, they can't be out there. And
can you eat 12 minutes of clock and be reliable and maybe even
wear them down?
Yeah, maybe wear down their D a little bit. Maybe take a little bit of chunk out of their back end, and they do.
And they do, and
then score breakaway winners in OT.
Yeah, and then but the thing is, like the Bruins. That first line, still, the Marchand goal, the Bergeron goal, perfect shot. And then Marchand, he threw that enormous hit on Pajot on the wall. Mm-hmm. The place went nuts. And he gets it back in the power play, snipe 3-3, you're thinking. I think they could have got this done in regulation. But Varlamov came up huge time after time, and now we got a series. And I think if you're a Bruins fan, like, if they go and split in Long Island, I think they win the series. If they go lose both, I don't know. I don't know if you're coming back against that team down 3-1.
It's going to be tough. And Carson Kuhlman was the one who came in for Craig Smith last game. I thought they might put Frederick in. He was great. Played 12:51, got an assist, made his presence known. You might see him in the lineup again. But the big news was the Borelli live stream with fucking Grinelli, Borelli, Stu Fina. I mean, absolute bananas. Gee, was that as wacky as it looked? I mean, you guys were the 3 Bruins fans in there?
Absolute war zone. Frankie called in like the Isles Fanatics. It's like this Islanders fan club. So there were so many of the craziest
the ones who pulled a fire
fans.
alarm at the hotel for the visiting team.
I had some kid.
they put the SWAT gear on. They go get when Penguins are on the road. They're like,
they got 911 on their beeper.
Watch the live stream, though. There's a kid standing right behind me with a bottle of tequila in his hand, just full bottle of tequila, just chirping me the whole game, whispering in my ear. I'm getting texts from the back of the bar. We're going to sucker punch you in between periods. You're fucked, Grinelli.
Random people?
Random numbers are texting me. I'm showing Frankie. I'm in a war zone right now. This is insane.
Well, we're playing on our turf now.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
what I mean by our turf, I
game.
mean your turf.
It's a different ball game now.
I won't jump on the Bruins bandwagon. I'm going to hop off.
How many people were in there?
Full capacity. Outside, too. They had everyone outside. When they scored that final goal, I've never seen a plate like that. Bottle smashing everywhere. I sprinted right to the kitchen, had a beer in the back with one of the chefs. Like, it was insane in there. Okay. Insane.
Well, all right. Well, we got Frankie coming into Boston
tonight. Hurricanes better be nuts.
Yeah, Hurricanes are the guy.
What time? Show up at 5 o'clock?
7:30 it starts. Show up at 5 o'clock, baby.
Yeah, it's probably going to be pretty crowded, so you might want to get there early if you're listening to this. And, of course, I hope you felt safe the other night, G, at Borelli's, because everybody wants to feel safe. Remember that feeling you got as a kid, getting tucked into bed? Well, the feeling you get now, the arms of somebody you love, safe and secure. It's a feeling of security that only comes through human connection, and that's why the people at Simply Safe Home Security are so important. Of course, Simply Safe has an award-winning system that has all the technology, bells, and whistles you'd come to expect these days. But the people at Simply Safe really take it to the next level. They're there around the clock anytime you need them. And the thing is, Simply Safe just makes it so easy. Takes about 2 minutes to put this thing together. You can customize it on the website at simplysafe.com/chiclets. Again, even a dope like me can do it. I don't even own a toolbox. It's simple. And then whether it's a fire, a burglary, a medical emergency, a burst pipe, or even while you're setting up the system, Simply Safe has a person with the expertise you need ready to help you 24/7. And when you know there's always someone there to help you, that's a feeling you don't get with any old security system. To learn more about Simply Safe and how they can protect you, go to simplysafe.com/chiclets today to customize your system and get a free security camera. You also get a 60-day risk-free trial, so there's nothing to lose. The ultimate no-brainer. That's simplysafe.com/chiclets. Whether it's a fire, a burglary, a medical emergency, or anything else, you know where to go to learn more. simplysafe.com/chiclets. Check it out. All right, boys, any other final notes on the Islanders Bees? Anything you're going to expect?
What did Mikheyev do that whole series against Montreal?
He did nothing.
He didn't do anything. He's played 12 playoff games for the Leaf. He's got no fucking points, Dubas. Figure it out.
Nobody did anything besides Nylander.
It ain't just fucking Marner and Matthews. Look around. Hyman had a few great A's.
Oh, we haven't mentioned our guest yet either. We'll bring him on a little bit. Tory Mitchell, longtime NHLer. Like, we had Jeremy Roenick on a couple of years ago. He told this story about the practical joke he played. Well, Tory Mitchell was on the receiving end of that. This might be the longest story on Chiclets. It's probably the best ever. Like, every 2 minutes, your jaw drops lower and lower. Again, we got to come and see you later. Do not miss it.
Hearing the guy who had it done to him is way different than JR, just who was pulling the strings up top. It's like this man has probably forever a part of him that will be petrified.
Yeah.
Like, that's never going away.
I was going to describe it. You could hear the emotional trauma just building and building and building. And he still endures today.
Nightmare.
But at least we get to enjoy the story.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got that coming a little later. In the meantime, Tampa, Carolina. Tampa won 2-1 in Game 2. It was, I thought, a must-win for Carolina. Tampa now is a 2-0 series lead going back home. Not a lot of whistles in the game. It was a real quick game, but I didn't think it was the most exciting game.
Wow.
Tampa
Game 2 was boring.
Yeah, it was kind of boring. Cologne, he's been playing outstanding this playoffs. He put him up 1-0 on another goal like, I don't know, Nedeljkovic might have should have had. I know he was kind of going the other way against it. It was one of those funky goals, but I don't know. coming off the previous game, huh?
From the
three-point line, as you said. But
come on,
I mean, is Carolina all done down 0-2 going to Tampa?
It's just such a deflating goal, like the one when they ended up losing game 1. It's just another one.
Start Mrazek.
Yeah,
he hasn't played in I don't think 3 weeks. Start him. And here's the thing, Nedeljkovic overall wasn't horrible in either game, but both games gave up a back-breaking goal that has to be stopped. Mm-hmm. The Killorn's goal is on the ice. If you go down on the butterfly, it doesn't matter if you can't see it. It's literally on the ice.
40-footer.
That's why the butterfly was created. What do they call it? Butterfly system? What do you call that?
I bet
Technique.
you RA with
Technique
his
was
fucking
created to take away the low stuff.
RA with the Playboy strapped to his fucking shin bones could have stopped that one from 40 feet.
No, he used the Hustlers for that because he read the articles in Playboy. So I don't know. I mean, Jesus Christ, those goals. And the thing about Tampa is when Vasilevsky's this good, I don't know, man. Like Tampa Avs, how sick would that be? They look a step above everyone else in my mind. Granted, this game's tied right now 2-2, but man, they got Stamkos, they got Kucherov, they got Point. Then they got Cirelli, Killorn, they got Tyler Johnson. It's never ending.
Hedman.
I'm thinking up front, and then they're third and fourth line. You got Coleman, Gaudreau. It's like
the big rig coming in with the occasional big.
Oh, the big rig. All he does is score like game winners. And I think if you then look at Victor Hedman, he's it right now.
Yeah.
He's the dog, and he's the Norris Trophy winner last year, and he is as good as anyone else in the league is playing defense. He creates offense. He shuts guys down. He penalty kills. He's a full-blown do-it-all type player. And to have him and then Vasilevsky, this team is so good, and this series is done. Maybe Carolina fans are going to love it. I'm a clown with my takes sometimes, but 2-0 going home,
I think I had Canes in 7 as well. But one of the most entertaining parts of the whole game was watching Arm Dog on NBC.
Awesome.
Him and Alex Jones. I forget who's the guy who teased him
Keith
up.
Keith Jones.
Or Keith Jones. What did I say? Alex Jones?
Yeah.
Is Alex Jones the...
Get off of the internet, folks, will you?
Yeah.
I got my tid full. Yeah, that's where I get my news, folks.
Hey, he wouldn't have thought the Scheifele hit was dirty. Alex Jones wouldn't have. He'd probably be so.
Jones.
No,
well, actually, no. Did we hear Jones tonight?
I actually texted him after. I saw he did a great job of breaking it all down. I think he took a fairly neutral stance, but he gave the overall perspective. I think he said he wouldn't be surprised if they gave him a game or two, which is kind of where I landed. But he did a great job of rolling it out. But him and Arm Dog were on the set, and the way that Arm Dog described the back end for Tampa was, it's like they're mountains back there. Like, not only do you have these big D with these big wingspans who log major minutes, like you mentioned, their top 3. We got Sergachev, Hedman, and
just McDonough. Ryan McDonough.
Ryan McDonough, heard of him? Fucking, he was a number 1 in New York, and then he goes down there, he gets to fucking play a number 3 to keep the change, and they just have these massive wingspans. They don't allow a lot to generate down low. They could play any way you want,
and because of that, with those 3 left D, the right D, Cernak, Ruda, and Shen, they're not the quickest, but they're big. And they're willing to just get in the way and create what you said, the end of cycles. They finish off cycles.
I don't know if Savard's banged up, but they ended up taking him out of the lineup and putting Cernak in, I believe, for game 2. And
Savard is a little banged up. Yeah.
Oh, is he okay? Well, that's probably why then. But that Cernak, he was there last year when they won it. He was reliable, and he filled in great, and just a pretty good defensive game with I guess a good late push by the Hurricanes, but. Fuck, they weren't really able to generate much in the first 2 periods in a game they had to win. Like, they're down 2-0. Like, fuck, they ain't winning 4 or 5 against Tampa. I'm sorry.
With 3 of them on the road.
It was too little, too late, and they seemed to hair off too. Like, they had a couple good opportunities. Guys shot it high or wide. I mean, it was the 2-on-1 with Natchez and Aho, and perfect opportunity. He had Vasilevsky down, and he shoots it either high or wide. They weren't as crisp as we've used to seeing.
Well, that's what happens when the goalie takes up every bit of the net, where you have to find that.
How good is that guy, man?
That little hole.
And full props to Tampa. I mean, they play a suffocating game. They know how to win. They had to lose a bunch to get to become Stanley Cup champions, and they're gonna be a tough fucking team to beat.
Yeah, and if you talk about Carolina almost outshot them 2-1.
Yeah,
but it's chances. It's the type of chances you're getting, and I think there was actually a chance for Aho to tie it up at the last second. And
when he brought out the 60-degree.
Yeah, who was the defenseman? He ended up being in perfect position. The puck was kind of in between them, but yeah, I mean. Once it was 2-0, it was you knew it was too much, and I think with Trocheck out now, who I don't think is going to play the rest of the series, and it looked kind of innocent. He got clipped. I don't know if it was by a skate or what exactly hit his foot or ankle, and right away, no weight on it. I don't remember which ankle it was, but he had a really bad injury a few years back when he was still on the Panthers in Ottawa. I don't know if it was that ankle. I don't know what exactly happened, but to lose him, it just turns them into a one-line team going against a fucking four-line team. And it's probably too little too late now. Not probably, it is.
Yeah, it's a tough team to beat. Four out of 5 games, getting a little hoarse here. Moving right along, this is the series we got in the background here. Vegas, Colorado, 2-2. What's that, 15 minutes left in the third, boys?
Yeah, they just had a breakaway, too. I think it was Riley Smith. Big save by Grubauer.
Yeah, I think Game 1 was actually going on when we recorded Monday. Absolutely spanked them, but the extracurriculars kind of happened while we were recording and I have to talk much. Ryan Graves, he got the interference penalty for hitting Matthias Janmark in the second. He buried him kind of up high. Another guy was already engaged with him. He got, I think, 2 minutes for interference. It was pretty fucking hard hit. Wouldn't necessarily call it clean. Either way, later in the game, Reeves grabs Graves, tosses him to the ice, got a knee on his head. I guess he pulled a clump of his hair out. He ends up getting 2 games. Just kind of a bad look doing that to a guy. I know his teammate got hurt, but Biz, you were the tough guy. What do you got on this?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've been in Reeves situations feeling like you have to protect the team, and Graves, Graves.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
I really like his game too. I thought that hit would have triggered me a little bit. There's a certain line in order to respond to it, and he thought he had him in that situation, and then Graves was in an even more vulnerable situation, and I didn't like it, and I agree with the 2 games. The stepping on the neck thing, Revo's a big guy, that could have, you never know. I respect the fact that he's willing to stick up for his teammates. As I said, I wouldn't have been happy with the Graves hit. I didn't think that the Graves hit was suspendable. I didn't think it was a 5. I think it deserved probably a 2. The way it went,
interference, maybe it was a late hit.
The way it went down, but here's the thing, though, is what if that Graves hit results in the same way as the Scheifele hit? Are we still having the same conversation, right? So which boat are you going to hop on? But regardless of such, Revo stepped over the line. He's gotten 2 games, and I tell you what, a good response so far. Right now, it seems like they're carrying the play quite a bit in Game 2 here. Outshooting them right now 31-17, and it's not like the Reeves loss is going to kill them. They'll probably just insert someone who's got bigger wheels. I didn't see who they threw in.
I think that it was tough when we were recording. I was saying you were watching it, but there were so many bodies around Graves and Reeves that you couldn't really see. And then once you got the look, there was one angle that you could just see his knee right in his face. And after that, I think even when he got his knee off him, he had his hand in there and he's rubbing, he's giving him the face wash. And for Graves to be down injured after that, you could tell I think something was coming in terms of suspension, because it had nothing to do with hockey, right? It was totally after the whistle. It was a blatant go after you hurt my teammate.
Correct.
So you understood where the games were coming from. But yeah, Vegas is able to throw in somebody with more speed. Who is it? I don't even know. I haven't seen this lineup, but I do think that the Vegas Golden Knights did what everyone thought they would do in Game 2 and show up, because we have no idea if they win this game.
I feel like this is a Carolina situation. If they don't win this game, they're in fucking massive trouble.
At least they're going home in terms of Carolina going on the road. But Vegas was bound to get pounded the other night after that series, and everyone said they'd come back tonight with an effort, and they've been sick.
Were you surprised?
I was going to go back to the Reeves thing. I think he's been kind of public enemy number 1 now that Wilson's out of playoffs, and the fact that the hit against who was it, Suter?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they weren't happy about that one.
Yeah.
So this is their one where they got their game back, and everybody can be happy and walk away from it.
Yeah.
I think 2 was the fair play.
Yeah, no problem with it. Yeah, it was some dirty stuff. I mean, Revo, he typically plays a clean physical game, like as DeBoer said. For me, Ryan is one of the cleanest tough guys I've seen in the league in my 12, 13 years. He's consistently a clean physical player. I mean, obviously, he's going to get his guy. It was tough to watch a defenseless player, one of your teammates getting hit like that, going back to the Janmark thing. It's hard not to carry that emotion through the rest of the game. So, he's going to get his guys back as you expect. And Gabriel Landeskog said, I don't know you can call that physicality. He's on a mission to hurt someone in the third. And Evander Kane piped in via Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
Instead of a suspension, they should have to play him 20 minutes a game for the rest of the series with the LOL emoji. So,
I will say,
their rivalry is great.
I will say, as a former fourth liner, the 20 minutes would be a lot more embarrassing. It would be more public humiliation to try to keep up.
You're just gassed. You're out there. You just can't breathe.
I told you about the
turning it over.
One game I played 11 minutes in Edmonton. I needed a body cast the next day. I was like Paul Pierce coming in for the next skate.
How many guys got injured? Were there like 4 guys kicked out of the game? How did you get 11 minutes?
No, pump the brake spot. I had 2 apples and I was a third star. Oh yeah. Was
that the lost phone trip too?
No, that wasn't the lost phone trip. That would have been I would have never had a cell phone again, but no. But anyway, back to you, R.A. Sorry.
Actually, I wanted to ask Whit, were you surprised to see Robin Lehner start game 1 after Marc-Andre started all 7 in the first series?
I was, but then the more I looked at it, I think that even the coaching staff knew that they were severe underdogs in that game. And let's give him a chance in terms of this guy's rested. Just 2 nights ago, we had a Game 7. We're going to go. I bet you they were saying they're going to go back to Fleury no matter what. Now, had he pitched a shutout, then you have a little bit of an issue, but it's a good issue to have. So in the end, I really wasn't. And then you also learn they had the extra day, right?
Right.
So then Fleury's getting 4 days of rest, and you understand, all right, we're going back to our guy who was lights out in the first round.
Yeah, I'm not sure it would have mattered either way, the way Colorado
played. It's like,
we
know we're going to get peppered, so let's throw Leonard in there.
Yeah.
You just eat all the shrapnel.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, if we get blown out with Fleury, it's like Game 2's coming up.
Oh, yeah, now we got to throw the new guy in there because maybe the confidence ain't there.
Hayes is playing 11 minutes in front of him.
And now we're back to the goalie discussion.
Well, either way, in a week or two, some of these guys are going to be golfing soon, but if you're on the course, you want to be looking fresh. And
yes, all right, people will be on the golf course. It is beautiful this time of year, and you're crazy if you're not using TaylorMade. You've heard us talk about them. You've seen us use them, and you've seen the best players in the world constantly using TaylorMade. And now the entire TaylorMade Sim family is in stores with the barstoolsports.com/TaylorMade special page. You can go to this page. You can find all the Chiclets gear. You can find the foreplay gear, the Barstool Sports golf gear. It's got it all. Visit barstoolsports.com/TaylorMade to check out TaylorMade and all the gear you're able to purchase right now. And also, if you're not just into the best clubs in the game, you can get into the best balls in the game. And if you've always wondered, what's so good about like the expensive balls? What's different about those balls? Well, now you can find out, but you don't have to pay the same price that you would with the competitors. Because TaylorMade's Tour Response is for those people who've always wondered what the high-priced Tour balls are. And now you can check it out by purchasing the Tour Response balls at barstoolsports.com/TaylorMade. What are you waiting for? Get yourself fit for the new Sim family of driver, fairway woods, rescue clubs, and 3 different sets of irons, and grab some Tour Response balls. barstoolsports.com/TaylorMade. I miss golf.
Well done, my friend. One last note on the Vegas-Colorado series. Nazem Kadri's suspension was upheld. After the game tonight, he still has 5 more games to go. So, boys, I think it's time we bring on Tory Mitchell and his epic stories because this is an all-timer. You guys are going to enjoy this, so without further ado, Tory Mitchell. It's a pleasure to bring on our next guest. This University of Vermont product was drafted by San Jose in the 4th round of the 2004 draft. A dogged penalty killer, he went on to play 666 NHL games for 5 teams and an additional 79 in the playoffs. He retired 2 years ago after 13 seasons of professional hockey. Thanks a bunch for joining us on the Spittin Chiclets podcast. Tory Mitchell, how you going, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited. I love what you're doing, so I'm so pumped to be talking to you.
I love it. And Mitch's name first got brought up here, and we'll get into it later with a little bit of an issue as a rookie prank done to himself from Jeremy Roenick. And who else were you with again?
I was with Devin Setaguchi as well.
So we're gonna save that. We're gonna save that for later. But first, I kind of want to get into what's going on now. Now, you played at Vermont, and you're back living in Burlington. You're running Elevate, a kind of a hockey academy in a way.
Yeah. Just like like the small ice training that you see, like Austin Matthews grew up training on. Yeah. That's exactly what we're doing. We have like a little patch ice. It's like 40 by 60 feet. I could grab the computer and show you, but I'll stay in here. But it's really caught on. Like the kids are freaking loving it. Yeah. So we do private lessons, like 1 or 2 kids for the hour, and we're just slammed. And we're actually opening up our second facility, kind of franchising in Boston, actually with one of your former teammates, Chris Diamond.
Yes, Dimebag.
Yeah, Dimes is going to be one of the skill coaches there helping out. So him and another guy, John Hutchins. So that's opening in July. So yeah, it's just been like a complete whirlwind since retiring from hockey, and still in the game, which is fun, and just freaking not enough hours in the day right now. Yeah. It feels like with how busy I am. So it's been cool. It's been a good transition. Like I didn't have that dead period of just golfing for 5 years straight, you know?
like Whit.
Mine was 5 months. Then I met Biz. But I think that it's funny because in New England, like Vermont, the one kid I think of, Brady Leisenring, he was from Vermont. He was an awesome player. He was an 82 born. But with a camp like yours, it's only going to produce better talent because there hasn't been a ton of hockey players from Vermont in the past 30 years.
No, there hasn't. All the top players end up leaving at like age 14 to try to go to prep schools in New England anyways. But yeah, the hockey here, it's not known for hockey, but they love hockey here. Everyone's a big Bruins or Habs fan. So there's a big following here for hockey, and we've been slammed. We have like 100 kids on the wait list for the summer program, so it's crazy.
Wow, that's good.
But we've started, so we're excited to be franchising in Boston and potentially announcing New Jersey moving forward as well. So yeah,
that's great, and congrats to you. You mentioned Montreal, and that's where you're from. So did you grow up an enormous Habs fan?
Yeah, I did. We ended up, getting tickets to like 3 or 4 games a year, my dad and brother, kind of 93. I remember going to a playoff game on their Stanley Cup run in early 90s. But yeah, I grew up like huge Patrick Waugh fan, freaking Saku Koivu. Like those guys were just legendary. So yeah, definitely. I mean, you can't grow up in Montreal and play hockey and not love the Habs. So.
I heard your old man used to build the rink in the backyard. I would imagine that you were probably doing some of those skill drills out there with him, that much like you're doing now for the young kids in Burlington.
I mean, I'm trying to keep up with Swaggy P here. You guys have posted some of his crazy stick handling lacrosse style stick handling videos. But yeah, he had the typical Canadian story. Had the backyard rink going, and I spent hours and hours and hours out there. Trying to hone my skills until I got to the NHL, and I just had to chip pucks in and change.
Thornton's giving it to you for trying to move that you worked on all summer.
Oh, yeah, totally. You know, I'm like, all right, I'm going to be a skill guy this season. I got to just stick handle all summer. What are you doing? Sit your ass on the bench now. Oh,
every year I would go train and come back at a camp. Maybe this is the year I break out. Maybe this is the year where I can start making plays at the blue line. And 2 days into camp, it's like you have to sit down. It's like, hey, fuck it, just put it in that fucking corner, get in there and forecheck, and if you don't get it, just get the fuck off the ice.
Yeah, if I had a dollar for every time they told me just use your speed. Just use your speed. I'm like, all right, I get it. I can't stick handle.
That's the nice way of saying you can't stick handle, dude. Just try to beat them wide.
Totally.
So, did you grow up? Is it an all English speaking neighborhood? Like in terms of Montreal, like how does that work in terms of where the areas are mostly English speaking?
Yeah, that's like that's a good question. So I grew up in a town called Greenfield Park. It's pretty English, like 10 minutes south of the city, and it was like. I was the English pig on my team growing up, and then I get down to UVM, or I went to prep school. I got to prep school at UVM, and then I'm like, they're not calling me Mitchell, they're calling me Michel.
You're a Frenchie now.
Yeah, I'm like, Mom, who am I? You know,
I can't win.
Just having an identity crisis. I don't know where am I from? What am I not supposed to be English from Montreal here? What the frick? So, it was very, very, very French outside of my town. Obviously, like once I was 9 or 10 years old, like the travel teams are all French.
Yeah,
all the best players are French, pretty much. I mean, there's a couple English Montreal, Alex Killorn, Corey Crawford. There's a couple. Back in the day, Matt Lombardi, he was I guess, considered an English Montrealer. But yeah, for the most part, it's all French. So I was like the only English guy on the team, just trying to be a clown to fit in, I guess. And then I get to freaking college, and I'm the French guy. What's happening here?
How'd you end up going there?
Well, my parents were so dead set on, you're going to college. You're going to college.
So Quebec was never even an option, junior?
No.
Wow.
No, there was no option. Like, they were just dead set on me going to college. My dad worked, he was an athletic director at kind of a ritzy, like, prep school type school in downtown Montreal, and like I had to go to that school instead of the public school in my town.
Yep.
And he had all these connections with these, like ADs at like Deerfield and Hotchkiss and all these like fancy prep schools. So it was like, you're going here. I had like a really big like AAA midget season. I was going to be like a top 3 or 4 pick in the queue.
No way.
I remember we met with like every team that summer. And it was like, no. And I did end up getting picked up in like the 5th round, and they offered me like a Mazda and like a laptop or something to convince me. I was like, oh, I like that. Come on, Dad. But yeah, that's how I ended up taking that path. It was like my parents were just like, you're going to school.
Where'd you go to prep school in the States?
Hotchkiss.
Oh, a wagon for many years in the 90s. Big time money. But then the hockey program lately, it's a little different now?
They got a good coach now, but yeah, they were decent in the early 90s. You're right.
They used to go to the Floodmar. You play in the Floodmar, and they just roll over teams.
Play against Milton and Nobles. And those schools. Anyways, yeah, that was tough, though, because you hardly played any game. Like, I got down there, and all my French buddies were 30 games into their season, and they didn't even have the ice down at prep school in freaking November.
And you have to play a fall sport, so you're playing football or soccer. Like, well, I just want to play hockey right now.
Yeah, totally. It was like mentally draining there. Just want to jump on the ice, but yeah.
So then you're at Hotchkiss. What other schools? Was it like you wanted to go Hockey East, or the whole time Vermont's somewhat close to Montreal and you wanted to be there?
No, it was just like complete, so random list of schools. There was like 6 or 7 schools kind of spread across the country, like Ohio State and Clarkson and BU, Vermont. Like, it was just kind of it was just a mix of schools. But no, we drove down. My dad brought me down to watch like Martin St. Louis and Eric Perrin and Tim Thomas in the mid 90s. And I just thought it was like, wow, this is the best place ever. So it was at the top of my list right away. Plus they weren't so good, and I wanted to play right away.
Was the atmosphere pretty good there for a college barn?
I went up and played there. When I was there, it was sick. It's a place that loves that team.
Yeah, it's their professional team. Yep. Like it's their NHL team on the weekends. So it's a pretty sweet building to play a game, right? Even as a visitor. Yeah.
Is that where you earn your nickname, Big Money Mitch?
No, it's not.
Was that when you got to the National League? You got that?
That was that's when I started making that money, baby. Yeah, there's a backstory there, but actually, I think it started like. Does St. Louis have a casino in the hotel, or I don't know.
I thought they had one across the river in St. Louis or something, or on one of the boats, don't they?
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember being in the casino the night before the game, just with a bunch of guys and like
waffled,
dead sober.
Yeah,
dead sober, and we, I don't know. I went on an absolute tear, and then I scored in like the first period somehow, which is also shocking. And I came through the line. They were like, there he is, Big Money Mitch. And there's a couple more stories after that, but it somehow it stuck. There was the odd game like later in my career, I'd be skating up the ice. I'd hear, Big Money. I'd be like, hell yeah, that's me. But yeah. And now I've kept kept the nickname going just for our Instagram page with our business here, just for fun.
So not your only story that it's
not the only story
that started at a casino, and we'll get to that later. All right, what do you got?
Yeah, actually, it's a riverboat casino right across the from St. Louis. I think it's on the whatever state is on the other side. Now, Burlington's a great town, obviously a blast. Were you torn about leaving there to go pro at Worcester, or were you like, just screw it, I want that dough, and be Big Money Mitch?
Yeah, I wanted to be Big Money Mitch. It was I was still like 2004 draft picks were still like somewhat under the good signing bonuses, not the small signing bonuses.
Hadn't canceled the big ones yet. So you could probably sign for 600 or something, where now that ain't happening.
Yeah, I got like 450, and I didn't know what I was gonna get, and like I was like, well, if it's 200, maybe I'll stay in school, and I had 1 year left. But then when they said it was that much, I said, give me the pen. Let's go.
Paid your tab and screwed.
Yeah.
So the first season you're professional, Worcester. What was that experience like? How'd you like Worcester?
Well, I was a bit of a silver spooner. You don't hear that much out of the checker, the grunts on the ice, but I was only there for 17 games.
Wow, so you didn't spend much time.
I ended up like signing in March, drove down from Vermont to Worcester, quick drive, saw the city, thought not for me, and made the team out of training camp the following season. So I played 11 games and then 6 playoff games or something like that. And then kind of technically wasn't my rookie year. My rookie year was when I went to training camp.
Wow. So take me through, like, you get that experience of pro hockey, you go back summer training, you don't want to be in Worcester. Did you still think it was a long shot to make that team, like right out of college?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just had a sick camp.
You guys know. Yeah, I had a good camp, and there were some injuries.
Yeah,
like,
there you go.
I think Curtis Brown and Marcel Gotch were like the third, fourth line centers. And Curtis got hurt. I don't know if, anyways, I ended up like kind of sliding into a third line role like right away, game one with Mike Greer and JR. And I was like,
what is
how
going
is this
on?
happening right now? Yeah. And it was, you guys know, you played against those teams. They were freakish. Like the veterans we had were, come on. It was like Jumbo, Patrick Marleau, Jonathan Chichu, Rob Blake, Jeremy Roenick. Like you walk in that locker room when you're 22, you're not making the team.
Yeah.
Or talking.
Or talking. Like your head is just buried between your legs, right? Man, but I tell you, they took me under their wing, and it was so awesome to be part of those teams. We're so good too.
The regular season, you would just smash teams. It's like Metallica's playing, and you know after the first period, if you're only down 2-0, it's like a win. It was a joke, those teams.
It was insane. Like you just watch. It was just like cycle, goal. All right, cycle, goal. Teams are like, I guess it was kind of known, like just weather the storm in the first 10 minutes against San Jose at the Shark Tank, and you would have an outside chance. But it was so crazy watching Thornton and Marleau just do their thing. You know, it was wild.
So that your first training camp there, where you ended up making the team, was that when the whole thing ended up going down with JR during that training camp?
No. It was the following season. So like that year, we ended up he ended up always bringing us over the rookies to his house for dinner. His wife would cook for us. Like after games, always at his place hanging. Like he was just like awesome. You know, it was part of like. It was a big deal for him to sign in San Jose because Doug Wilson gave him an opportunity to like continue playing. Yeah. And it was part of it was, you know, take care of the young guys and get him under your wing. And I tell you, he definitely lived up to that. Like I was hanging out with him the first 2 weeks of the season and we became buddies, you know. It was just like, but you know, we also probably took advantage of his niceness a little too much. Like, not playing pranks on him, but, you know, like ringing his doorbell at 3 a.m. and like cooking food in the kitchen, like any hour of the night, just like random stuff like that. And I think that plays into like the story that you're going to ask me about next. But he was getting us back for always not taking advantage of him, but definitely pushing the limits with him a little
Was
bit.
it a big prank team? Was that just kind of how it was going in the locker room all the time?
I mean, JR was on the team. I mean, he was like
nonstop
Hollywood, man. He was Hollywood. He was like Deion Sanders of hockey. He was prime time. He still is.
Yeah.
He's just like he's just on point always. And you're like, man, is this a show or something? No, it's not. It's JR being JR, doing JR things, and I want to be a part of it.
Vince, a lot of our listeners might not even remember the actual prank. Can you give it in a nutshell synopsis?
We'll let Tory explain it, but JR came on, and I'd heard this story, as most of the league has, through the grapevine, as the craziest story ever. It comes down to these guys being in Vegas, and JR saying to Setaguchi and Tory, we're going out tonight, follow me. And you can kind of take it away for how it began and how it went. And we got the version from the prankster. Now we get the version from the man who was pranked.
Yeah. And this, to give even more perspective to your listeners.
Yeah, all in.
Yeah, this story, so I guess it happened in 2009 or 2010. And I was lining up for face-offs my last year in 2018, and complete strangers, guys that I'd never talked to in my life, they'd be lined up next to me and be like, is that scare tactic story true? And I'd be like, wow, this is wild. This isn't that good of a story. So it started the first week of August. He called me and said, we had just signed Dan Boyle and Brad Lukowich, and he's like, I'm going to get a private jet, and 8 of us are going to fly to Vegas for a golf trip to introduce the new guys to the team. And I was like, and where are we going? This is a week before training camp. He's got it planned. I was like, okay. At the time, I was pretty big into training. I was like a week before, this is pushing it. But so I was like, I don't know. I'm not sure. He's like, no, you need to come. I'm going to bring you and Setaguchi. I want a mix of young guys and some veteran guys. So I kind of had no choice in the matter. He's like, you're coming. All we're going to do is golf, have a nice dinner. We're not even going to go out. We'll play some cards at the table. Just, you know how that is. Sure. So we get there, and he gets a private jet for us. We get there, get to the golf course, and he's adamant about me and Seto golfing with him. He's like, I'm taking the kids today. Okay. Sounds good. Get out on the golf course. He's trying his hardest to get us double shots of vodka with whatever. And it's 100 degrees there in August. I'm like, wow. Okay. We're going, we're having fun. We get back to the room. We got an 8-bedroom suite or some nonsense. I loved it. And, and he says, okay, I'm going to take the kids down to the blackjack table. Come with me. So geez, he's really taking a liking to us on this trip. Great. So we go down to the table. He's given us money to gamble with. He's given us money. He's got some guy who's in on this joke at the table. So he's like, hey, are you guys, you hear about this party tonight? This big Vegas house party, supposed to be off the charts. And if you guys get there, the code word, I'll give you a call. What's your phone number? I'll give you the code word to get in the party. So my eyes light up. I'm like, whoa, this is the real deal. Okay.
Wait, sorry. No part of you was like, we don't even know this guy.
No, I'm thinking JR is so fired up about this. Yeah. And I was like, okay, all right, get back upstairs. The other guys didn't even know what was going on. JR kept it to himself. So he says, hey, it's 8 p.m. right now. He's like, hey, I'm taking the kids to this party. We're going to scope it out, let you know if it's fun, and we'll call you and you can come. So the 5 other guys are like, why would we separate? Let's stick together. He's like, no, we're going first. I got a limo coming, just the 3 of us. The code word was Dakota. Okay. So we get to the front door. I got this loser Christian Audigier.
Oh, yeah, Ed Hardy.
Such a Vegas shirt. Such a Vegas shirt.
The tinfoil print.
So embarrassing, like across the chest with the little like sparkly things on them, right? It was, it was cool.
Diamond encrusted.
Oh, yeah. Just terrible. And we get to the front, and it's this massive bouncer who turned out to be like an offensive lineman for the Arizona Cardinals. And he looks at us and he's like, "What's the code word?" I'm like, Dakota. So he's like, shuts the door, opens the door. We walk in. And we asked JR, like, how are we supposed to dress for this? Like, is it just like t-shirt, or like, should we like throw the coat on? No, just t-shirt. We walk in. It's a black tie event going on in there. So I'm like, dude, are you serious? Like, we look like bums. This guy comes out of this back room and gives us blazers. So I'm like, oh, okay, boom, throw the blazer on, feeling good, love it. I'm like, good fit, not bad. Walk into the room. Everyone is like placed at these. It's kind of like a big like kitchen / living room, like little bar on the side, just like a open space in a house when you walk in, basically. And they kind of bring us over to the a couch, and that's where we're standing. Then we sit down on the couch. We're like, like, is someone gonna offer us a drink, or what's going on? This guy comes out and says, Tory, Devin, and Jeremy, thank you so much for coming tonight. You can hear a pin drop at this point.
How many people are in here roughly? Sorry.
Yeah, so everyone's probably like 20 to 30 feet away from us at these like tall little round tables, little like bar tables. And there's maybe 30, 35 people, all actors and actresses, but dressed like really nice. The girls are dressed in like ball gowns, and the guys are in nice suits. And so this guy comes out. He introduces himself as the host of the party. And he says, we want to welcome these three guys to our Life Force party. And I was like, and then he just like disappears into this back room, and everyone starts talking again. And I'm like, what's Life Force? Hello, JR, what's Life Force? He's like, dude, we're in. Like, just relax. Like, we're here. Don't think anything of it. I'm like, okay, like, little uneasy. Still want to know what Life Force is. Waitress comes over, offers us a little champagne. Thank you. Okay, we're settling in nice. Excuse me, what's Life Force? And she looks at me, she goes, oh, you don't know? And walks away. I'm like, here we go. Red flags. She comes back. She's got 3 shots. They look like, I mean, dude, it's blood. There's blood in the shot. I'm like, I'm not drinking that. There's no way I'm drinking that. Big bouncer comes over behind the couch. He's like leaning over us. He's like, are you going to drink that? You better drink that. I'm like, holy smokes. So I look over at JR. He slams the shot. He's got like red going down his chin like this. Like he's loving it. He's like, oh, it's not blood. It might be. It might be blood. I'm like, holy smokes. Oh, I'm like, dude, this is getting out of control right now. What's the next move here? Are we getting out of here? He's like, no, just play it cool. So then I notice in my blazer, there's like these 2 big blocks. I'm like closing my pocket. I'm like, they're listening to us. Someone's listening to us. There's microphones in our blazers. So I try to open the pockets, can't open the pockets. Seto's freaking out too, but he was hammering the double vodkas on the golf course. So he's kind of like, I think he's in his own world. Then the host comes back out, says, okay, it's time to get Life Force going. Clearly because they were listening to me and I wanted to get the freak out of there. This lady comes in, bra and panties. She gives a double kiss to everyone in the party. I'm like, what is going on? Give the double kiss. She goes around. The host comes back out. You can hear a pin drop again. He says, all right, that's our main event for the evening. And we're so excited that she's given herself the life force. I'm losing it at this point. I'm like, giving herself to what? Dude, where are we? What is happening?
Did you think maybe gangbang or something? Like,
you're not even like, what's a thing?
Ritual sacrifice.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
you went right there. I would have been thinking maybe the other thing.
Yeah, that's what Seto was thinking. I was thinking more like, okay, like we're vampires already.
And
like,
JR not panicking is kind of freaking you out even more. You're like, what the fuck? Why isn't he worried?
He's like, play it cool, man. Play it cool. Like, I'm telling you, I double check this party. Like, it's good. Like, I'm like, you didn't talk. You met the guy at the blackjack table. How is this legit? So he's like, play, calm down. So now, like, they're clearly listening to me. At least I'm convinced they are, which they were. The guy comes back out because I'm panicking. I'm ready to get out of there. I'm like, dude, we got to get out of here. Enough is enough. Like, this is so outrageous what's happening. I don't know what. This guy comes. They open these sliding doors. They wheel out like it's a hospital bed, basically. But and there's a big drape over it. And I'm like, that's the girl. That's the girl that was in her brown pants. That's the girl. I could like almost see her toes up with the sheet covering her toes. I'm like, that's her. They rip the thing up. All these people are like gathering in around this table at this point. And I'm like, where's my escape here? How do I get out of here? They rip the drape off. It's her. She's filleted from the neck down to the waist. I mean, they had her intestines, like her heart might have still been beating. There was whipped cream and strawberries and real blood. And I was just like, holy smokes. By the time I could take my first breath, JR has beelined it for the front door, which is like 60 feet from us. He's like, F this, I'm out. He sprint for the front door. The bouncers grab him, take a knife out, and just start going to town on him. Boom. And I'm freaking out, like crying, like, oh my, how is this happening? He's got a white button up on, and he's got these fake blood patches. I'm talking a pool of blood. He's a fish out of water.
No, he's dead. He's dead, Tory.
Well, no, at this point, he's going, why? Like, dude, spinning. Oh, fish out of water. I'm like, what do I do here? Like, clearly I'm not attacking a 6'5", 400-pound bouncer with a bloody knife who just shanked JR. So I jump up on the bar. Seto watches me. I jump up on the bar. JR is like a fish out of water, like basically crying for help for me and Seto. And I'm like, I try to shoulder the window a little bit. I'm like, is this window going to give here? No, it doesn't give. The whole party turns around. The host says, Tory, get down from there. Everything's going to be okay. I'm looking around like, give me a glass of champagne. I need like a knife or something. Yeah. Okay, at this point, all these people in the party have put the contacts that change the color of your eyes in, like you're a vampire.
Oh my God.
Drill a video.
And yeah. And like little teeth. Okay.
Oh my.
And they're up. I'm on top of the bar. They're probably like 20, 30 feet away because Scare Tactics, this TV show, they never, they always like take away like harmful objects, like, so you can't like hurt one of the actors or actresses. And I'm up, but I don't know. I'm freaking out. He's dead at this point. So I jump down, and the sliding doors that they brought this like hospital bed in with this chick is right behind me. So I shoulder it. I kind of like hit it with my butt, and I kind of like break the like bottom part of it, and I squeeze through, and I just take off. I left Seto for dead. And I'm going.
Where was Seto this whole time?
Seto, this is. I'll tell you that. So I'll tell you what his train of thought was phenomenal. So I'm sprinting through this house. Now I'm in the game room, which I'm like, oh, animals looking at me, freaking out. I look, I see an office. So I jump on the chair, jump on the desk, right through the window. I could have been on the 10th floor of the house. I didn't care. Right through the window. I was probably 12 feet up. Landed in the bushes, brushed myself off, and I'm going. and I'm bleeding too, like through the window. It was a double pane window, so it was window 3 inches window, and like when I went back to see the window, it was like perfect hole in the first one, and then like jagged like triangles on the other window. Like I could have gotten halfway through and just killed myself, but man, the adrenaline was rushing. I fly through the window, land in the bushes, brush myself off, and take off. And I am running and running. I know JR said I ended up, when he was telling the story, I listened to it. He said I ended up in Wayne Newton's backyard. Dude, I was running with like beautiful white horses just next to me going. And I didn't know where. I was in the middle of Nevada somewhere. We're 45 minutes off the strip. He took me out to this stupid house. And so I'm hiding, and I can hear people saying, Tory. I'm like, of course. Why am I running from vampires are like flash speed? Like, I got no chance.
I'm dead.
These fictional.
I'm dead. So I'm taking out my phone. I see like a front window to like a house pretty far away, and the lights on. So someone's maybe in their kitchen or something, and I'm going right through that window. So I start taking off again, running, and I got my phone, and it's Seto calling me, and I'm like, so I answer. I'm like, get out of there! Get out of there! They're vampires. He's like, it's a joke. It's a joke. And I'm like, what? What do you mean it's a joke? So they end up like finding me, these vampires, and I make my way back to the house. I mean, I'm bleeding like crazy. Thank God I had my that blazer on that they gave me, because like my back was all cut up. I got a big scar in my arm here from it, but I get back to the house and he's alive. I mean, he's got his shirt unbuttoned with all the stupid blood patches still on. And he's got this big smile on his face, and he's like, I got you. Oh, and I didn't know, like, I wanted to hug him or punch him or cry. I didn't know what I was feeling. Seto was just shell-shocked. I'm like, dude, he's like, you just left me here? I'm like, yeah, I was fighting for my own life, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And he's like, I was like, what were you doing? He's like, I was going to just eat a piece of her and become one of them.
So he was all in. He's like, I'm not getting killed by him. I'll do whatever they say.
So JR ran for the front door when the host grabbed a piece of her body and like took a bite out of it. And Seto saw that and was like, I'm going to have to eat this to survive and become one of them.
He bought in. He's bought in.
He was all in.
Big fan of the Lost Boys.
Is that crazy or what?
It's the most insane story. The first time I heard it, the craziest thing to me is like, dude, you could have legit sliced your neck open on that fucking window.
Oh yeah.
They were probably panicked when that happened a little bit.
I don't have blinds in here to show you, but you know, like the cheap blinds that like you can look through. They're all like little. Yeah, I got them at my place. Those are the ones that I jumped through. I didn't even know what was on the other side. I didn't know there was two windows.
And you had no idea what floor. Like it could have been 20 feet. You were just getting out of that house.
I was like gone.
Did you need stitches right to the hospital?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, they had the EMT crew there. And then the best part is Rob Blake and his wife come out of the garage. They were watching the whole thing unfold on all the cameras and stuff.
Oh my God, that is so good, dude.
And I was like, I saw him and Jumbo and Dan Boyle. So the reason the guys weren't there is because JR had them next. He was going to get them next. So like
the other guys at the hotel, you're saying?
Yeah. So he had a limo waiting for them to come at, like, we left at 8 or something. They were supposed to come at 9, but because we broke the homeowner came downstairs from upstairs or something and said, everyone out. We're not doing another one. I broke the bear claw in the game room running over it, and I broke the window. So she was like, everyone out of here. No. And I was just like,
they're like, we're good. We got the shot.
Totally.
The greatest prank in league history. The craziest one I've ever heard. When you got back to the house, was the actors and actresses, they all start clapping and stuff? Is it?
Oh, they were like consoling me. They were coming up and just like, it's okay. Like one by one, they kept, you're all good, man. It's okay. Like because you're not supposed to be able to escape like the main. They're supposed to say, hey, it's a joke. Like, but I guess I didn't hear it as I was running through the house or what. But
wow. Was that going to go on TV? Was that going to be an episode?
Yeah. So JR had the footage of it. So we got back to San Jose, and then Doug Wilson kind of heard about it and was like, this is pretty ridiculous. He was not pleased that this transpired a week before camp. And he's like, this is not going on TV.
He's like, this is not what I meant when I said take the young guys under your wing, JR. You can't use them.
Vampire wing.
For pranks.
Right? So he ended up, we ended up watching it, just the older guys. There was like 10, 15 guys watched it, but it was really funny, but they didn't have like the hidden cameras outside the main room. So they didn't have me running. They had me breaking through the door and getting into the game room, but they didn't have the footage after that, me going through the window. It was comical. Like the homeowner, she brought me over like the window and she like brought the blinds up. She's like, really? I'm like, really?
Oh, really? Yeah. I saw my friend get stabbed to death.
Yeah. Yeah. So it turns out like the TV show was Scare Tactics. It was like Tracy Morgan's, I don't know. It didn't last very long, the show, but it was like there was maybe like a season or two, and we were in one of them, but it never aired on TV.
So was the jacket actually bugged, so they could hear you talk?
Oh yeah. I was right. They had 2 microphones in it.
So was that the same training camp? You ended up getting injured and missing some time.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah. You ended up missing close to a year. Did you not?
Yeah, 120 games.
Oh. What the fuck happened?
Yeah, I broke my leg, which is crazy. Like, anyways, I broke my leg the second day of training camp. I was coming down the left side, lost an edge, and slid into the net. And like the posts were stuck pretty deep in the net. Same thing that happened to Stamkos. Like,
yeah,
you remember that?
Yeah,
where he
in Boston.
Yeah, and I like tried to stand up, and I was like, whoa, my leg is not connected. Yeah, it was crazy. I missed like 60 games, and then I ended up like coming back in the playoffs, played 2 or 3 games. We lost in the first round to Anaheim, and then I got more surgeries in the summer, so missed the first half of the next season, and then played maybe 50 games that year, and then had another surgery in the summer. And then I ended up having like 5 or 6 surgeries from it, and then I was going to like the top like knee and ankle leg gurus in the rehab world, flying all over the place, just trying to get it right again. And the last 7 years of my career, I didn't have any surgeries, but it took a toll on me for sure.
I was going to say, you were a guy and you're one of the quicker players in the league. I mean, were you never really the same at the end?
No, yeah. I'd say my left leg was like, I played at 80%. Yeah. My right one was 100%. So like, it just, I was never the same. Like I was always, like there was a time where in some negotiations where I was like, might've been like a Darren Helm type, where it was like being discussed, and then that injury happened, and it, obviously it was never the same after that. But that, I don't know, it changed my life, because I just learned how do I survive here? How do I like just last year after year in this league? And it's such a grind, isn't it, Biz? And you just like, you're obviously like, you're a tough guy, but it's a grind.
Big time, especially an injury like that, and then like the overcompensation as well. So the alignment of your body's constantly being thrown off, and that's the hardest part. That's probably why you went to see all the gurus to figure out, hey, can I get this to where it's not affecting, hip, groin, whatever it may be.
Yeah, it was like muscle things I didn't even know that I had in my body on my left side. Like, oh, your oblique shot. I'm like, what is that?
Yep.
Your this hip flexor, your glute, everything down my left side was just like always constantly. So anyways, I had, not to talk too much about the injury, but I had a bunch of, little routine that I'd have to do to like warm my left side up before practice and games and stuff. But it ended up all right.
I was going to ask, as your career went on, did you kind of become more of a clown in the locker room, so to speak, because you started feeling more comfortable? And I think it's in your nature too, right?
Just a glue guy. you know? And that was like every, like, you know, after San Jose, so I was there for 5 years, and then I spent 6 years on 4 other teams. But that was kind of the theme. It was like when my agent was talking to GMs, it was like, I've heard that he's great in the locker room. And, you know, you just, when you hear that, you have to embrace it if it's going to help you survive.
Like, for instance, you know, you have the responsibility sometimes of collecting the rookies' money when they put money on the board or the fines. And I also heard another story. You and Jumbo got into it because maybe one time you forgot your duty.
You guys are teeing me up here. I love it.
Yeah, the squeegee
All
story.
I've read is the paragraph about, like, ask him about this, and I have no idea where this is going.
So this is a Jumbo Joe story, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's classic Jumbo story. And did you guys ever see the article in The Athletic that came out? It was just like 50 quick, like small paragraph stories.
It was before this season. It was before this season.
It was unbelievable.
It was awesome.
It was awesome. My story in that was like when he made me fight during a TV timeout. We can come back to that, but he, like all of a sudden I was supposed to. He got done after practice, and I was, I think it was my 4th or 5th year, and I was apparently now the fine fund collector, but I wasn't. And he said, no, you are. And they're late on their payments. So we kind of like, I don't know, at that point, like we were such good buddies. Like I was comfortable firing back at him pretty good. And we ended up in the shower together, just me and him. And he had me by the throat up against the wall. I mean, he's a big boy too. And I'm a little guy. And I was in one. And
you're both butt ass naked. He's choking you up.
Oh yeah, you know how it is. And that was my last line of defense. Like I looked over in the corner, and there was a squeegee. He would love to tell this story. Have you guys had him on?
No, he said when he retires.
Oh man, he is gonna love to tell this story.
I think he said that, right, Biz?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. So that was my last line of defense. I was able to, like, as he was choking me, he had me lined up too. Like he was going to completely knock TKO me with, like, you know, the wall right behind my head. And I grabbed the squeegee, and I was able to get 2 hands on it. And I just basically speared him as hard as I could. And he let go of my throat, and he looked at me, and he went full swing. I ducked. And I went baseball bat, squeegee to rib cage. I mean, he must have had a scar. Like it was there for weeks. And then it was like on, like he was going to annihilate me. But a couple other naked guys made their way over and separated us.
Next thing you know, you got a lemon party going on.
Yeah. But typical Jumbo, like I get home, start playing video games. He comes right in through the front door. Has a chew, tells me how much he loves me. He only does it because he cares, and that's just him. He's just the best. You know, he's living legend, still playing the game. And you know, you only have. It was like so crushing for me, but then, like, you know, he comes over and smoothens it out after. It's pretty typical Jumbo. But he's one of those guys you just want to do stuff for, you know.
So what is the story about him being like, hey, Mitch, go out and fight?
Oh, yeah. Oh, he stood up. I was dog shit, having a terrible game in Dallas. You guys could probably find the media clip on this about Brad Richards, about what he said after the game. But
it was Brad Richards?
Yeah.
Why are you fighting Brad Richards?
I'm surprised he even fought you.
He's nasty. He's no business fighting you.
I have no business fighting anyone either. So I'm at the end of the bench. I'm like, I think it's my turn to go on the ice. We'll see what coach picks here. TV timeout. Jumbo's standing up, and he's telling me how dog shit I've been. Screaming it. I'm like, McClellan's right behind him. I'm like, dude, like, really? Come on. You're dog shit tonight. Do something. You know what? Go fight someone right now. Right fucking now. Go fight someone. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, well, you know what? There's 2 minutes left in the period. I'm like, maybe Todd's not going to pick me right now. I'm like, boy, I'll just sit down, getting assaulted by my captain, basically. And he's screaming over everyone. You're dog shit. Do something tonight. Waste of space. Just like, taking abuse. And so he's like, calls our line out. So I go, it's an offensive zone face-off. The red light's still on. You know how the refs like drop the puck? Like just leave it there during the TV timeout sometimes on the dot. So the ref's kind of making his way over. I don't even know who it is. I just see someone kind of on Dallas like skate by me, and I two-hand him in the ankle as hard as I can.
This is before the face-off?
Oh, yeah. Like we're not even at the face-off dot. He's got me so fired up that I need to fight. So this could have been like Jamie Benn or someone. Who knows? Like I see skates and I just two-hand as hard as I can. So I look up, it's Brad Richards. I'm like, oh no. He spears me. Next thing you know, gloves off, we're going. I get 2, 5, and a 10, so I'm done for the game. I go to the locker room. Jumbo, first guy in the room. Fucking right, Smithy! Let's go! That's what I'm talking about. We're gonna win this game for you. Let's go!
Oh,
I got 17 minutes in the box. Like I'm just gonna watch the rest of the game, and we did. We won. We came back and won, and that's just I don't know. He's one of those guys. You just do stuff for him because he wants
alpha.
Alpha, total alpha, trying to bring the best out of you.
If there's one thing I've learned from this interview is you succumb to peer pressure pretty easily.
Oh, yeah. When it's Roenick and Jumbo when you're a young kid. Yeah.
That's true. That's true, too. I probably would have as well. Oh, my goodness.
I know. Now, your first NHL coach, man, I was, what's his name? Ron Wilson. Did he have you wishing you were back getting chased by vampires?
He was my coach my rookie year. And then the second year we made a coaching change. So it was Todd McClellan's first year with us. But Ron, he had an interesting style. But he gave me my chance, so I only have good things to say about him.
What do you mean interesting? Just like the way he motivated, old school guy to scream?
Yeah.
Dude, he chirped. I had him at the Olympics, and it was different, but he chirps, huh?
He'll chirp you like you're on a 10-game slide. It's like, well, you don't score tonight, you're probably not going to play the next game. And you're like, oh, boy. So he was old school. Like, sometimes maybe he'd say good morning, probably not,
So just, always grump. So was it a good change when you guys got Todd McClellan? Obviously a little bit, I'd say not like is he a player's coach? I'd say definitely more than Wilson.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a great change. I mean, he was Mike Babcock's. Like I think the players in Detroit they loved him.
Yeah, they were so sad when he left because that was after they beat us in Pittsburgh. He took the job the next year.
Yeah, exactly. And he was just could command a room where like the older players are like perked up, and that like when you look around you see like the veteran guys are like all in and like really listening to like he's just a general. Like he speaks so well in front of it. He's like a Nick Saban, like maybe not the best X's and O's guy, but can get the best out of you and just command the room. And like he was fun to play for. Yeah, he was really fun to play for. And we ended up beating the Wings. Like I think we beat them maybe 2 years in a row in the playoffs. And anyways, the first year, Babcock, after the series, I think we won in 7. He said we got out-winged tonight, which was cool. Like, because Todd came in, revamped a whole new system that was like identical. As you guys know, it's just a copycat league, a completely identical system to Detroit. And it was like, okay, it's up to you guys to do it better than them. And we did. So it was such a big moment, like for the Sharks organization to finally beat the Wings that were just always in the Stanley Cup, like, or close to every year. Yeah.
Now, before the second season, Todd McClellan, he made Rob Blake the captain after 4 seasons of Patrick Marleau, then Joe the year after. What was the whole story behind that? I mean, it's unusual to have 3 captains in 3 seasons.
No, there was no drama at all. Like it was, all 3 of them are captains, you know? So it's, and then they did it with, they ended up passing it down to Joe Pavelski and then Logan Couture. Like there's really no backstory to it at all. Like those guys were all respected as captains as is, even if they didn't have a C on their chest.
When I had the chance to first meet with you, I think it was Dallas or Vail, one of those lockout camps we got to hang out.
Yeah,
it was Dallas, and you had an unreal vibe with your buddy Ryan Clough, who's just hilarious. So you got any funny stories thinking back to Chloe in San Jose? Tough as shit, too, that guy.
I mean, I have so many stories with Chloe. He was just the best teammate, you know. He was just, I mean, he was like the new Eric Lindros. Like he could do it all, you know, like hit,
he had
fight,
some big years.
He had some big years. Happy he got paid. Good for him. But he, I got a good story. We lost. This is typical Ryan Clough. We lost, like, I think both of our tough guys, I forget who they were. It might have been Jody Shelley and Fraser McLaren. Anyways, we had no, like, fighters left in the lineup. Chloe just started fighting all the heavyweights just for 3 or 4 weeks, just because. And it was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, he was just taking on Peros, probably fighting you, Biz.
He was on the first line at the time, I think, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just decided, you know what? I'm going to start. I mean, he must have had 7 or 8 fights that month there. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but that's just typical Chloe. Like, that's the type of teammate and person he was. He was like, you know what? Like, I'm probably next in line for this role. I'm going to be the tough guy. Crazy.
And I know it's different when you retire and move on. Sometimes you don't stay in touch, but were you able to talk to him? Because there were some tough times he went through, I think, with his concussion and stuff.
Yeah, he's doing great.
He's
doing great. And he had the concussion problem. No, he's doing great. Family's great. He's got 2 kids. He's living in Florida. He's just and he tried to get involved in coaching. He probably will be back in some capacity at some point, but he's from what I heard, he's doing awesome now.
So you're a free agent. First day of free agency, you end up going to Minnesota. Was that the best deal on the table? Now that you're big money, Mitch, was it all about money?
It was the best deal on the table. I think I had the same deal with Columbus and maybe Calgary. I had like 7 or 8 offers that summer. I was like, the phone was going like crazy at noon. I was like, how did I fool all these people? But
my leg doesn't even work 100%.
Yeah, like I'm just, this is great. But no, it was the best. You know, they ended up like so I got like 2-year deals everywhere, and then they ended up throwing in a third for the same amount of money. So it was kind of a no-brainer, you know. And then like a couple hours later, or maybe the next day, they announced that they had signed the same summer as Parisi and Suter. So
you went in there with that year.
Yeah, it was a super exciting time and then we made the playoffs it was the lockout season, actually. We ended up making, the playoffs in that, was it 48 games we played?
Yeah.
So it was like, in Minnesota, I hadn't made the playoffs in a long time. So it was fun to be a part of it.
And Mikko Koivu, he was a big factor in that team. What kind of leader was he in the room?
Great. Guys loved him. Super easy guy, approachable. And, no one has a bad thing to say about Mikko. He was great. And heck of a career. Those Koivus, man. Jeez.
Yeah, they're animals.
We're going to take a quick break from this Tory Mitchell interview because it's brought to you by Body Armor. Summer is creeping up on us, so make sure you stay hydrated with our favorite sports drink, Body Armor. Today's athletes deserve more than your grandfather's tired old salty sports drink, which is full of artificial dyes. Enter Body Armor. Made with potassium-packed electrolytes, antioxidants, and B vitamins, plus no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. Body Armor Sports Drink provides hard work and hydration and more, plus it tastes great. I'm actually on the water right now. It's been a long week, but I loved all the flavors they got. Berry lemonade, orange mango, watermelon strawberry. You can't beat any of them. Body Armor helps today's athletes stay on top of their game. You can find it for purchase in-store anywhere or Amazon right now. You can learn more at bodyarmor.com. Check it out. And now, back to Torrey Mitchell. And then you don't fulfill the whole deal in Minnesota. They trade you to Buffalo. How bummed out were you to get not only traded, but traded to Buffalo during that time?
Oh, yeah. That was outrageous. We were like 3rd in the West. Then I went to let's tank for McDavid.
And they didn't even get him.
Song.
They didn't even win the lottery.
Oh, yeah. And so I got there. I actually broke my ankle. Played like 4 or 5 games like after the trade deadline, and then went back the following season. That was like that training camp. It was like you looked around the room and you were like, well, okay, I'm definitely going to make the team.
Are we going to have a full team?
We might not win a game the whole season. Like, could this be more on purpose from the GM than anything you've ever seen? So,
Big Money Mitch was on the first line.
Big Money
like,
Mitch,
wait, what?
He won.
high stepping, top 6 minutes. It was great living. But then you're thinking, all right, this is my last year. Like, I got to go to Omsk. I got to line up Omsk right now.
Already calling Russia.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, but we ended up, and then the following deadline, I got traded to Montreal.
Yeah, so just that feeling, I mean, to get out of Buffalo and what's going on there, to go to the team that you grew up rooting for, what a phone call to get, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah, just like jitters, like a little kid again. It was crazy. I ended up, like, the phone was just going off. There was like maybe an hour. There was maybe an hour left on the deadline, and the Buffalo GM was Tim Murray at the time. He did say that he was going to try. A couple teams had called about me. He was going to try to get me somewhere that I would like. So I couldn't believe it. It was crazy. I mean, I grew up like 10 minutes from the Montreal Forum and Bell Center. Like I went to school downtown, a 5-minute, 10 blocks from where the Habs played. So that was like best time of my life, and I'm happy I was able to share it with. It's probably better that I was there, like, at age 30 than 21. So it was fun to share it with like my family, and friends.
Fun to remember it, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like it was pretty special, man. It was.
You kind of became a bit of a fan favorite there. Was that just because of the connection there, or just because you got off to such a hot start and maybe, like, no offense, expectations as far as what you were doing offensively weren't there, and you had some good numbers?
Yeah, it was decent. Like I had 2 like guys that probably shouldn't have been on the 4th line. Like I was playing with Danault my first year. It was like, Brian Flynn, like these guys. Flinny's been in Switzerland the last 2 or 3 years, tearing it up, like doing well. And I'm just like, wow, I got 2 bits. When you get out with 2 players, it's exciting, right?
Yeah.
You're like,
play with the puck a little bit.
Play with the puck a little bit. So
not exciting for the 2 guys that are out with Biz, though.
That's the only problem.
yeah, that's another question.
Yeah, I had my guy.
It was like rejuvenating, refreshing. It was like I was like I felt 21 years old again. Like it was a new period, it was awesome. And I stayed there for almost 4 seasons,
And your first coach there was Whit's favorite guy in the world, Michel Terrion. Did he blow smoke in your face and talk shit to you too?
You didn't like him, eh?
You know what? I've always actually said he was a really good coach, but I was just kind of his whipping boy. But I've also said he gave me a million opportunities and played me, but he was just really hard on me.
I think he had a hard on for offensive defensemen who were
I was the
quote
type
unquote soft.
I was the type of player that was like,
quote unquote.
I drove every coach nuts, and then him, it was just extreme. But I've dogged him a lot while also saying, like, the guy knows what he's doing. He just had a time, and I was with him in the minors, so you can be even more mean. You know what I mean? I saw a little different side. You're the type of player he'd like. It's different.
He loved me.
Yeah.
He loved me. Like, and he was just like, it's so hard to find some, but there are other guys on the team probably that had similar, like, played the same way you did. Yeah. Probably seemed like, I don't know, maybe he just didn't like your attitude around the rink or whatever it may be. But like, he really, like, he gave me so much opportunity. Yep. I was playing, like, instead of 7, 8 minutes on the 4th line, it was like 12, 13. And going out against other teams' top lines and stuff. So it was like, I don't have anything negative to say about him. Like, yeah, there was a lot of smoke though.
Yeah, he loves darts. So you had a good run there, and then in LA, and then was it one of those things where you couldn't get an NHL deal and you continued to want to play? So it was, I'll look to Switzerland.
Yeah, it was just like no more offers.
Yeah.
It had run its course. 11 seasons. Thank you. Amazing. Have nothing, no regrets, and had an offer from somewhere in Russia, and then I had Lausanne, Switzerland, and it was a no-brainer. Like, it was beautiful town, like crazy, like in the Alps basically.
Yeah.
And had a fun year over there. Brought the family over. It's just wonderful.
It's hard too. It's hard to get a job in that league. Like every import wants to go to Switzerland, and there's 3 allowed.
Yeah, four. I think they moved to 5 or something. And plus, they're all like, they're high point guys that usually go over there.
Yep.
So, yeah, and they're good. There's good NHL players that maybe couldn't crack the top 6 when they were playing. So they're like, I'm done with the grind. I want to go play 50 games and make $400,000 in Switzerland tax-free. Thank you.
Yeah, not about it.
I actually want to go back to Montreal for one thing. You were there during the PK Subban Shea Weber trade, which was huge when it happened. How did that go over in the room? What was the reaction? Were people expecting it? Well, take us through that journey.
Yeah, I guess, it was I think it was just a massive shock for all the fans. For the players, I mean, you get obviously a big personality who's no longer in the room, and then in comes Shea freaking Weber. Like, come on, he was just like, guys are just call him Dad. Hey, Dad, need anything today? Can I get your breakfast here? Like, it was just, he's just got that presence about him. So no, it wasn't the guys. No one was like super disappointed, because like, next thing you know, Shea Weber is your captain, and like I think it's safe to say it's turned out to be a pretty nice trade for Montreal.
And it was looked at the other way for a long time, for a couple years at least.
Yeah, and that's just because like PK did a lot for Montreal, and did a lot like in the community, and like just such a big personality with all the French people that just loved him and still do. Really, quite frankly. So, when
looking back, is there one goal that sticks to mind in the NHL that was like your best? Like, did you have a highlight reel? Anything?
Just my playoff goal in Montreal. That was like, I had like 8 buddies behind the net, and
that's
it was
sick.
Second period. Yeah, I scored like a cheesy wraparound goal, but I almost threw my gloves in the air like I won the cup. I was ready to go the old flurry down the ice on the knees. Just it was that was like the biggest goal for me, even though it was just, I tied the game 1-1 the second period.
Yeah,
they ended up losing 4-1.
I'd say you're going to do the Teemu Selanne shoot the duck, but I know you had a tough experience at one point where you almost got deported in a was it a hunting situation? Can we get the backstory behind the Swan story?
Yeah, this is non-hockey related at all, but it's a funny story. I'm glad you asked. I'm going to go on a rampage again here.
Let's do it. This would be a nice way to cap it off. And buddy, this has been so fun. Our fans are going to love all these amazing stories.
Oh, good. Yeah, I was dating a girl from Montana who is now my wife, and I grew up basically in the city, so I don't know. You guys hunt or fish or anything like that?
I don't know. Shit. Yeah. I killed a little bird once. Felt awful in 8th grade. Never again.
So that same. Like, I'm out there. My father-in-law is a huge big hunter. There's a big hunting and fishing family, and great, love it. Get out there, trying to fit in here. So first trip, I think it was her like 21st birthday or maybe 20th birthday. Anyways, I get out there. I think it's after my rookie year, and they got beautiful property, probably like maybe, I don't know, 20, I don't know what acres, 25 acres or something, 20 acres, which is small for Montana. And I get out there, and he's telling me how annoying all the gophers are, because they come into like the like nice lawn, like the property.
They dig it all up.
Yeah, they dig it all up. So, like, have you ever shot a gopher before? And I'm like, no. He's like, well, do you want to? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So we go outside, and we're just like on the 4-wheelers and just picking off some gophers with my father-in-law. Not a big deal. And the next day, he's like, "Hey, have you ever shot a stronger rifle?" I don't know what number it was, but I think it was 17 instead of a 22 or something like that. So I'm like, all right, like this thing's got the scope on it. The bullets are a little bit bigger. Still, I don't know anything about this, guns and stuff. And so he leaves, and he gives me the gun out of the safe. I get back out on the four-wheeler. The day before, I shot maybe like 2 gophers, and I was just watching these things like mortified almost. But, I'm in Montana. I'm going to do Montana things. So I get back out on the four-wheeler, and I start with a couple birds. Pick them off. Boom. Thank you. Work my way around. Gophers are popping up all over the property. Picking them off. Now I'm starting to become a pretty good shot. Make my way over a little body of water on the four-wheeler, little Ranger. See some little things floating around the water. Just going ham, having a field.
Dirty Harry.
I'm unstoppable. At this point, I'm like John Rambo, dude. I'm off my four-wheeler, and I'm like creeping around trees, and like I got this gun with the scope. I don't even know how. I had this ring around my face because I didn't know how far the scope was supposed to be. So I got this it keeps like coming back and whacking me in the eye, and then I see the mother lode. I see this bird. It's like, I don't know what it is, but it's got this long neck. It's got beautiful black stripes down the back, 2 perfect black stripes. It's a white, I don't know, it's a goose. I don't know what it is. It's a big, beautiful bird that you would see at a zoo. And I'm taking pictures of all these animals and sending them to my buddies in Montreal with my gun over my shoulder, like, look what I'm doing, boys. Bet you're not doing that. And
it's like Wedding Crashers.
Oh yeah, I see this thing, and I work my way over to it, and I get the thing. You kind of cock the gun like that. I get it on the handlebars. I take this shot at it, and it's like wings flare out like this, and I'm like, I got it, because it's not flying away. It's just kind of like making its way down this little riverbank, and I get on foot. I chase it down, and I'm going, and I'm like missing. I run back. I get on the four-wheeler. I work my way closer to it. I'm like, I already got it. For sure I got it because it's not flying away. So I got to follow it till I get it so I can get this picture for my buddies. Shooting at it. Finally, it goes off. And I'm like, I get off the four-wheeler. I work my way over this little hill. I can't find it. I'm like, man, it's out there somewhere. I'll find it whenever. So I go back to the house. Again, big adrenaline rush. I feel like John Rambo. Go out for my current wife's 20th or 21st birthday dinner. 15 people. Hey, I'm sitting at one end of the table. My father-in-law is at the other end, and he says, hey, did you get any gophers today? And I'm like, yeah, I sure did. He's like, how many? I'm like, probably like 10. He's like, did you get anything else? I'm like, yeah, I did. He's like, what? I'm like, I got a couple birds, maybe a couple squirrels. Like I was shooting he's like, oh, geez, you're not supposed to shoot them. And I'm like, I mean, I'm Canadian.
You didn't tell me.
I'm out there with a high-powered rifle. Did you get anything else? I'm like, yeah, I got this big swan-looking thing, big goose. Like, I don't know what it was. And the whole table turns and looks at me, and they're like, what color was it? I was like, had these beautiful black stripes on the back. And they're like, did you shoot it? I'm like, well, yeah, I definitely got it because it didn't fly away. And they're like, that's the neighbor's like endangered species pet swan. Oh, and I'm like, is it dead? I'm like, I mean, it might be. Is that okay? And they're like, no, that's not okay. That's like a big fine, and you could potentially get deported here if they report it. And I was like, well, it's got to be in the field somewhere because it didn't fly away. They're like, they have its wings clipped. That's why it didn't fly away, dude. And I was like, oh boy, we got to go find the swan. So we get back, and the swan was at the neighbor's house alive.
Oh, best missed shot of your career, dude.
I'm a bad shot, boys.
Kyle Spackler.
Oh my God! If you found that thing and had to drag it back to the neighbors, you're done.
Done. I think it was like $10,000 fine and like potentially deported. So
Holy shit.
what are you gonna do?
Harry, you're alive. Got a horrible shot.
Oh man.
Hey, I want to go real quick back to Montreal. Like, drinking age was 18 there. When I grew up in Boston, we used to drive up there in the summers, 16, 17, with fake IDs to go there. How young did kids from across the bridge start going to Montreal if the drinking age was 18?
I think everyone like grabbed their brother or cousin's fake ID at 16.
Yeah.
To start roaming around on the streets there. But it's a really safe city, so it's like even when that is happening, I don't know if it still happens. I assume it does. There's probably 16. You know, grab your brother's ID and just comb your hair over, try to look a little older. But
I know we've kept you a while. We definitely got to get you back on with all these amazing.
No, golfer, sandbagger.
Ooh, shit!
Have you seen our sandbagger series?
yeah, you guys got to give me.
Biz stinks.
We're not giving you any time, buddy. We're going to sandbag the shit out of you.
I watched one the other day because our third instructor went to Plywood State with
Plywood State.
Yeah, just meatheads. He told me, he sent me one. I watched like 30 minutes of it. You guys were playing against, I can't believe you were calling him Jose.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jose did not like that.
And,
he's from Acapulco.
Jose the Hex Master.
I'm not as automatic on the greens as Jovo, so I'm probably a 12 handicap.
All right, well, you grab another partner. We'll do it, Mitch. This was a long time coming, an incredible interview, and I'm really excited for you with Elevate and Diamond. Chris Diamond was my partner my freshman year. He was senior captain at BU. So he's like, I look at him. I always looked up to him. He's a great guy. I'm pumped that you're probably going to be doing some business with him. Good for you guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate you guys having me. I'm glad I could share a couple of stories.
And we will set something up for some on-camera stories with Mitch, dog.
Yeah, next time we'll get some
big money, Mitch.
Well, next time I'll ask about Douglas Murray too. That's the one I want to talk about.
Oh yeah, we'll go into him later.
That's a whole pod to itself.
And his
totally.
His website is elevate02.com, ELEV802.com. So check it out if you're in the Burlington, Vermont area.
Yes, sir.
You still got those Montana connections? That'd be a great place for a sandbagger.
Yeah, it would. It would. I actually belong to a course in Montreal as well. That's pretty nice.
Nice.
I got my brother's ID.
All right, Mitch. Hey, good luck with everything, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great one.
Thanks, buddy. That was awesome.
Thanks, boys.
Huge thanks to Tory Mitchell for joining us with an, like I said, all-time epic story, plus the other ones. I mean, fighting Joe Thornton naked in a shower. I don't know if you've ever seen Eastern Promises. Biz, you ever see that movie?
No.
Viggo Mortensen.
Oh, sick scene.
Incredible fucking, like, Russian mob, Eastern mob movie. He fights a guy in, like, a sauna, and they're both buck naked. All-time fight scene. So that's what I was thinking of when Tory told that
Was
story.
it a realistic fight, or was it like kind of like
extremely realistic? Yeah.
So like a lot of squirming and
It's
everybody's sweaty.
Wait, is that the movie when he's out of the game and then they find him? What movie is Viggo Mortensen?
No, this is Eastern Promises. He's like a Russian mobster.
Yeah, he's in a movie though where he's a gangster, but he's moved on, or he's a former like mob guy.
A History of Violence.
History of
Violence.
Yeah,
when he
that
lives,
movie's sick.
And his wife dressed up as the cheerleader for that awesome fuck scene.
Yes.
So I love
This
it.
is throwback
All right.
Chiclets. This used to be Chiclets.
No,
I'm getting fired. No, keep going. I'm getting fired up.
No, he
That's
was
a
the
great
old
movie.
Joey something. Yeah, he was
Joey.
He moved.
Holy
he was
shit.
a Philly mobster, and he tried to live outside.
This is why I can't get circumcised, because if he keeps talking about this stuff on podcasts, stitches pop, folks. I got to worry about my health.
Viggo
and my
Mortensen,
fucking
of course,
sensitivity.
one of his early roles. You've seen Carlito's Way with Al Pacino.
No, you told me I got to watch it, and
you still haven't seen it.
He's also sick in the recent one where he's like a bodyguard or a driver for the piano player.
Oh, the green car. The Green Book. Green
Book's
Yeah.
a great
Yeah.
movie. Viggo's good in that. He's a good actor.
Very good actor.
Eastern Promises. This is what a naked fight scene. It just gets our brain going.
Upstate New York. He's from Watertown, New York. I think he might be a Canadians fan. Someone tweeted a picture of him with a Canadians jersey the other day.
He's probably going to block us because we said the hit wasn't that bad.
He played. I forget the fucking guy's name. He was like, Carlito, I can't walk, I can't hump, dude. I can't believe you haven't seen Carlito's Way.
No, I every time I see it on, I gotta watch this thing.
Absolute gangster classic. Well, anyways, if you want a gift for the dad who's a big softy or the dad who loves naps, No matter the dad, get him a gift that can really be comfortable. That's Tommy John. From ball-catching dads to ball-scratching dads, all dads agree. When they're wearing Tommy John underwear, they're much more comfortable and they can do everything better. That's why Tommy John doesn't have customers. They have fanatics. Hundreds of thousands of them who, after 13 years and tens of thousands of 5-star reviews, call Tommy John the most comfortable underwear ever. Because with dozens of smart innovations, once a dad tries Tommy John underwear, he's never going back. Like breathable, lightweight, moisture-wicking fabric with 4 times the stretch of competing brands. With over 14 million pairs sold, dads across America love Tommy John underwear. I got a pair on myself right now. I don't want to groceries out and show you, but they're super comfy, and there's no risk because he's always covered with Tommy John's best pair you'll ever wear, or it's free guarantee. So go to TommyJohn.com/Chiclets for 20% off your first order right now. Order by June 15th for delivery by Father's Day. Again, you get 20% off your first order at TommyJohn.com/Chiclets. Once again, for the folks in the back, TommyJohn.com/Chiclets. See site for details.
And that stat I butchered earlier about Jesperi Kotkaniemi.
That was decent.
Jesperi Kotkaniemi.
Yes.
He just needs 1 goal to tie Sidney Crosby and Wayne Gretzky for playoff goals scored before the age of 21. So that is very impressive. This is a guy who didn't even get the nod to start the series. So stop blaming Mitch Marner. Stop blaming Matthews. Sometimes you just got to.
Is that tying them two for most goals under 21, though, or is it just tying them two? Because there's a difference. Do you know what I mean?
I know. You just put my brain in a pretzel.
Well, yeah, mine too a little bit, too.
Do you understand what he said?
I understand what he's saying, but I don't think you have the answer.
No, I don't think I'll ever understand what you just said. I can re-listen to it tomorrow, but I don't re-listen to the podcast.
I'll ask you again tomorrow, and then maybe we can figure it out.
Just when you think you have the answers, Biz, what changes the questions?
What's that from, all right? Is that from something?
That's from his Jeopardy trial when he failed.
Let's talk about the Jeopardy
Rowdy Piper. Yes. Yeah, I told Biz earlier, my failed Jeopardy tryout, it was...
Well, I shouldn't say failed, but it sounds like you crushed it.
No, right. I didn't get called for Jeopardy.
Your fidgetiness might have killed you.
Yeah, he kept hitting the button. They're like, sir, let us ask the question.
Ding!
Ask the question.
He's like, I want to guess the question.
Yeah, I had a tryout probably 22 years ago. They would bring you to a hotel conference room, like 150 people at a time maybe, and they give you a written test, 50 questions, and I aced that. So I don't know how many I got. They don't tell you, but I probably got... No,
well, how do you know that?
Well,
how do you know you killed
because
it?
they bring you to the next round. They're like, only the following people, and everyone else
fair enough.
How many people went to that next round?
Probably 12 out of
150.
Roughly,
Okay.
yeah. So
I did
well enough to get to that. And what they do is they play a mock round, and they tell you, like, don't worry about the questions, getting them right. They just kind of want to see you, like, on camera or whatever. And they ask you to name 5, like, interesting facts about yourself, because back then you could only be a Jeopardy champion for 5 days. Now it's unlimited. So I wrote down, like, five like, wacky facts, bungee jumping naked. I won a Mick Jagger impersonator contest, tickets for the Stones.
He's like, I'm
voices.
Fucking 2-on.
Dude,
I'm 2-on-1 in this chick that he in him with my buddy.
I didn't know what you
I've raised the cup 14 times.
Yeah. Wow.
I'll kick my coverage
Robbed the
a
back
bunch.
of a truck with my uncles.
Drove getaway for a
I hit a
score one
17 parlay in 7th grade while reading a Playboy.
Wheelman for a pharmacy robbery when I was 12. I'm joking, kidding.
Do you think that maybe that's where it went south, was the 5 stories?
I don't know. I don't think it really went south. I think they just decided not to pick me. But when I walked out of that building that day, I was as confident as you can be. It's the typical Hollywood line, like, don't call us, we'll call you. There's really no number to call them anyways. And they say, if we're going to pick you, you'll hear within a year. And every day I get in for like the next 6 months. First thing I do.
They make you wait a year, they tell you?
They keep you on file for like that long. So every day I'd come in, check the call. Remember caller ID? Like when it was a new thing, a novelty, you'd have like this thing on your phone. I would come in every day looking for a California number.
It would just say Jeopardy.
And the only thing I had was a pen. They give you a Jeopardy pen when you take the test, and that's all I had. So
you still have the pen?
They fucked you.
Somewhere buried. Yeah, I got it buried somewhere. Yeah,
Jeopardy fucked you.
Yeah,
Were you somebody that would watch the show and like get a lot of the questions right?
Yeah, like I'm not even bullshitting. Like I don't know if any of my old college roommates. I used to like win subs on like on my floor in college,
Like submarine sandwiches?
yeah, like at Subway when we were dirt poor living in the fucking campus towers. I would say, all right, I'll bet you I get X amount tonight, and I would win and like win food and shit. Yeah,
We should do a live stream of a Jeopardy where RA has to fucking see.
Yeah.
No, we need memes to make the Jeopardy board and make the likely 5 categories for RA that he could crush, like Rolling a Bone,
Rolling Stones.
pick the Rolling Stones. What else could be on there?
Movies.
Yeah, movies.
NHL.
No, I'm thinking of more. No, I'm thinking of Simpsons.
Playboy articles.
Playboy authors. And what would be a good last one for RA? Sleeping in.
Hugh Hefner's palette.
Who likes to sleep in?
Absolutely, and now they do everything online, and you can take the test, whatever. But I've taken it, and it's just not the same. In person that day, I was boom, boom, boom. I was rattling them off. Online, I haven't had any success, but maybe there's a big Jeopardy fan who works there listening now, and who knows? See what happens.
Oh my god,
Biz, I have that stat for
I
you.
would.
Kotkaniemi is 4th all time, and he is behind Jordan Stahl, Roenick, Brent Sutter, and then he would tie Gretzky, Crosby, and Brindamore.
So all right. I figured that the way that you worded it, that it wasn't number 1, but they're just using those 2 names as like this is that
The
legit.
standard,
Yes. Great job, Mikey. Great job, Biz.
Thank you,
That was
Mike.
Biz. That was Biz.
Little
Good stat,
tag
Biz.
team, little tummy stick action.
Well, you mentioned Lil Cros, which is a perfect segue into the Ted Lindsay finalist. Well, it's a little awkward. Crosby, a 3-time winner, was nominated along with Austin Matthews, who led the league with 41 goals in 52 games. First American to do it in 24 years since Big Walt did it back in 96-97 with 52. Shout out Big Walt, my boy. Connor McDavid, 105 points, led the league. All 3 Ted Lindsay finalists out of the playoffs already. Yeah.
And not only that, all 3 like facing some serious questions in the offseason. Like all
Crosby
3 of
to the
those
Avs.
all 3 of those teams, Crosby to the Avs after they win the cup. All 3 of those teams is like, what's going to happen? What will be the changes? Who's coming in and who's leaving? So it's a weird time. We talked about the salaries and how many guys aren't in the playoffs anymore, but McDavid's running away with the Lindsay and the Hart.
Yeah.
I mean, Patrick Kane was saying it himself at the end of the season. It was a season for the ages.
He was tapping out.
He was like, yeah, I think this is like, why are you asking me? It's like Connor McDavid's dominating.
Kind of like when they asked Yzerman about the draft. Should
oh,
we roll
my
this
God.
clip? Can we roll this clip? Yzerman, this guy is an absolute treat.
Yeah, so to tee it up, like obviously we'll get into it, but the lottery was tonight, and congrats to Buffalo on winning it the year before the next 2 superstars are coming along.
Another team that Taylor Hall was a part of that has won the draft lottery, I believe the 5th time now, 1st overall, maybe 6th. I don't know. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Well, Yzerman's doing a press conference on Zoom, and
After ripping them.
and Detroit got the 6th pick, and I'll just let you listen to what's going on here because he just puts this guy's brain in a blender.
Mine too.
Not much separation there in the top 10. I mean, players could pretty much see players going any order after the first couple of picks.
I don't even know about the first couple of picks. Who are they going to be? You seem to know.
No, I'm asking you.
I'm asking you.
Okay.
Who are the first 2 picks?
Owen Power, the first pick, would be my projection.
Okay. Who's second?
I'll go with Edvinson.
Okay. Interesting. We'll note that.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so that kind of shows in terms of like draft years, this is the biggest clusterfuck ever because of COVID and how many leagues didn't play shortened seasons if there was a season for junior age draft eligible guys. And Owen Power is the kid from Michigan, big defenseman, who's looked at as more than likely the number 1 pick. But even Yzerman says, like, oh, yeah, who's going 2? No one has an idea. There is not a clear-cut 1-2 Tyler year. Matthews, I'm thinking of Eichel, McDavid. And so it's just a crapshoot because so many guys weren't seen. And I think that Yzerman's making people aware that nobody has an idea of how this draft's going to go. Maybe Bob McKenzie. He'll probably still get the first 10 picks right.
What Witt's trying to say is the Arizona Coyotes picked the perfect year to completely avoid the first round. So we're, in fact, playing chess, not checkers. Fuck the rest of the league. Fuck the Leafs. I'm off the wagon. Back to the Coyotes, baby.
Hey, I saw
Woo!
they said today, like,
Woo-wee!
Arizona does not have a first-round pick. If they win the lottery, we'll just redo it.
We'll do it
They
over.
were just okay, start again.
Let's
Hold on.
call him Mulligan.
That's
Who cares?
business team.
Who cares? People don't even know who's in the draft this year. I've never even heard of Owen Powers.
It's Shane. Is Shane Wright?
That's what we're doing. We're waiting.
Shane
for,
Wright's next
Is
year.
next year, and Connor Bedard's the year after, and
Bedard.
Buffalo guy.
I'm going
this
to
year.
kidnap him. He's coming to us regardless. So all you other fucking teams, forget about Connor Bedard, okay?
Yeah, Buffalo got the first. The Seattle Kraken will have their first year in the league. They'll be picking second, followed by Anaheim, Jersey, Columbus, Detroit, San Jose, L.A., Vancouver, Ottawa, Chicago, Calgary, Philly, Dallas, then the Rangers, and, of course, the rest will be determined during the playoffs.
Who is Dallas's guy on the Zoom call not impressed with getting the 12th pick?
I didn't
Just
see
pigeon
that.
toss the earbuds. I'm
Right
pretty sure-
away?
Oh, yeah, just fucking out of the fucking ear. I'm done with this Zoom call.
Why do I need to stay around?
Yeah.
I know I'm picking 12th. I don't know who we're taking.
Yeah.
Well, Ted Lindsay wasn't the only finalist we heard about. The Vezina finalists were announced the other day. Vasilevsky, no-brainer there. The guy's been outstanding. Philip Grubauer for Colorado. I believe that's his first time
Biz
as
has
a
been calling this
finalist.
guy
He's
over
a
years.
bum.
And Marc-Andre Fleury, who, funny enough, he's won all Stanley Cups. He's never been nominated for a Vezina before. So
Is this a year that Fleury gets it in terms of like the Career Achievement Award? His first time ever even being nominated somehow.
See, I don't think they do that much with the Vezina.
I think it would be tough to pick Grubauer given what's in front of him,
Because they've heard about you ripping on him all year.
and that too. I think, yeah. That do you think that plays a factor, G?
It could.
Some media members
If
like Biz
RA
has been on this guy's case all season.
If RA played a factor in My Octopus Teacher winning an Oscar, I think that maybe I can sway them to voting to Marc-Andre Fleury winning his first ever Vezina in how much?
17th, I think.
17th year?
Yeah.
Is that the oldest somebody's ever been nominated for a Vezina for the first time?
Classic Biz.
Wow, that's a
question.
great question that I don't have. That's a
Wait, are you saying
typical
is that,
fashion?
Is that the
Well, you put my mind in a pretzel earlier, so welcome to the Thunderdome.
Payback's a bitch.
Hey, but if you think about it, it probably is because 17 years before you're up for Vezina, I can't imagine that's ever been
That's
the case.
gonna be Hauser.
How many guys even play
That's gonna
17
be-
years?
Yeah.
Hauser's going
That's
to
gonna
be
be-
50. He's going to have no money left because he's lost every Sunday night football game.
But
Taking the Bills plus 7.5. They're losing by 30.
yeah, it turns into Dominic Hasher
Lighten him
for
bet.
the Sabres, fucking at 50.
The Sunday night piss check bet. Trying to get
He's
yourself
got
to
a Bud
even.
Light tattoo on his forehead at that point just to pay for the fucking gambling debts.
We want to send get well wishes to our buddy Hazy, Kevin Hayes of the Philadelphia Flyers. He had core muscle surgery last week. Should be ready for next season, but we saw that. Just want to send love out to our boy. Have you talked to him at all, Whit?
That's why you never, ever do abs. That's why I don't touch my abs because you can't get core muscle surgery if there's nothing there to do the core muscle surgery on.
Yeah, I gotta
So I
watch,
hope
boy.
he feels better. He said right away it sucked, but he's getting better every day.
Yeah, that's why I had bilateral sports hernia surgery. Too much fucking.
That was that was your cardio in the summer back in the day.
Oh, yeah,
Bang.
just
Like,
fucking-
Biz, you doing the bike? No, I'm going to tee her up for 14 hours straight. I'll be sweating my dick
yeah.
off.
Seconds. Just a fucking nail gun.
That's it.
Sewing machine.
That'd only get better.
Need some Roman swipes in the mix.
All right, what happened when you went skydiving naked?
Bungee jumping.
Or
naked.
bungee
Yeah,
jumping.
skydiving.
yeah.
It was pretty funny. South Padre Island, spring break. It was 93, I believe. No, 94. It was only me and one of my boys. Usually it was a crew of us, but everybody was either getting older or breaking up or whatever. So we went down to South Padre. We walked in our hotel room, and there's 4 dudes already in the room when we checked in.
All-inclusive.
It was like, I don't think we ordered these guys. Yeah, it was
Here for the gangbang?
One of those, here for the gangbang, exactly. It was one of those like fly-by-night operations, and they overbooked. But they were kids from Dorchester. We got along with them great. It was kind of hilarious. And when we got there, when you were going,
This dude flies
bet.
around the
Sharing a
world
face
to
cloth.
just like
Sure. Face-
they're
face-
splitting cigarettes.
Yeah.
well, when you were going spring
Stand up
break,
69,
There
fucking sharing the mattress.
there would be rumors about like the place you're at. And down South Padre, it was like someone's like, oh, if you go bungee jumping naked, it's free. So it was like, all right. So we were at the bar, Louis' backyard, and the bungee jumping's like 2 piers over. And, we were getting gassed up in the afternoon. I was getting little beer balls, and I was like, I'm going to go over.
Morale
And
guy.
I announced to the bar, I'm going bungee jumping naked right now. And I was like, yeah, bullshit. So I walk over, and I go to the table, and I says, is it free if you go naked? And like, guys like, no. And I was like, well, can I go naked anyways? And he said, sure. So I started dropping trowel, and then someone at the bar was like, he's really going to do it. And the whole bar, like, walked over to, like, start chanting. They start chanting, naked boy, naked boy. So, you know, they do those fake tattoos.
Yeah,
on
the
spring
henna
break.
tattoos.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, I got naked boy, like, written on my back for, like, the rest of the week. So I went up, dude, and it was one of the more liberating experiences of my life to be completely buck naked. It was a little chilly that day, so had to get a little cover fire.
Oh, no, I couldn't
Yeah.
do it. I couldn't do it, especially without a covered wagon. Because it would be like...
That's when he lost the Jeopardy. He told that story to the Jeopardy guys. Like,
nope. That was story one coming out of the gate.
The guy's like, I was going to pick him, too.
Yeah.
What is
naked boy?
So I'm waffled, ripping fucking.
I'm doing noseball vodkas and I'm bungee jumping naked in South Padre Island with a kid from Savin Hill.
It's a novel. It's like a Harry Potter book written down. It was a written essay.
And well, they asked me if I wanted a videotape of it.
Where's his dick?
No fucking way.
You could have got the video evidence.
Yeah, I didn't want to. You know, it was a shits and giggles thing. Well, we walked away, and one of the kids from Milton was like, he held up a VHS
That's going to be the
tape.
next Pirates of the Caribbean, the Lost tape.
The videotape will never see the internet. I got a copy. I got the copy of it after. Like, it wasn't very flattering. I mean, it was hilarious. It was a great thing, but yeah, I don't want that out there. It was not
It must have been so weird at the end when you're hanging upside down, naked, and waiting for him to pull you in. You're like,
VHS. That's like a VHS dick tweet or a dick text, like the old Brett Favre special.
Dick pic.
oh, a VHS.
Yeah,
dick
you don't
pic.
want that.
You had to you had to fax it.
And then I get off, and, like, people want to take pictures of me. There was, like, a family there, like, I was clothed by now, but like, oh, can you take a picture with us? It was, like, crazy.
As naked boy?
Yeah, but I didn't take a naked.
That was
yeah,
his
like,
first
take a picture with
Barstool
us.
name. He was blogging as Naked Boy the first couple months. Switched to Rear Admiral. Another South Park.
That's the personality he puts on, kind of like Jim Carrey did Man on the Moon with, what was it, Tony
Clifton.
Tony Clifton. What do you mean?
Great movie.
Holy fuck, we're all over the road.
Do we have any
How
more
about the
hockey?
girl who left the French Open?
Yeah, Naomi Osaka.
Are we done with hockey?
One more note, actually. UMass goalie Philipp Lindbergh won't be back for his senior year. He was taken in the 7th round back in 2019 by Mini. According to our pal Mike Russo at The Athletic, Minnesota has been unable to come to a contract agreement with him, and his agent sent that with 30-day letter. Basically, he's withdrawn from school. He's going to be a free agent. He could sign with anybody. You know, the draft rules get a little convoluted, but you're familiar with him.
Didn't
So.
understand one word you just said.
Really?
Is he going to play in the National League?
UMass's goalie can sign with anyone, and he's not going back to school.
He's going Jimmy Vesey style? He's getting the
Kevin Hayes
Nobu
style,
at every
too.
city in the National League?
And Kevin Hayes waited long enough to not go with the Blackhawks and went with the Rangers instead. Now he's got core muscle surgery.
That's because they brought him to One Oak after.
Yeah, but fucking Chicago's got some good times, too.
That's true. I've had a few good nights in Chicago.
Boys, before we get to the final segment of the etc. stuff we like, a few months ago, I tried out these OCB rolling papers for the first time, and now I'm a customer for life. These things are unreal. Wicked smooth burn. OCB is the largest rolling paper brand in the world and has been one with nature, crafted naturally since 1918, so you know they've perfected the process for a consistently great session time after time. Again, I'm a huge fan, just started using them. Can't recommend them enough. In perfect harmony with natural, sustainable practices, the highest quality textile papers, responsibly sourced and sustainably crafted, have always been the OCB signature. OCB offers a full line of papers made with sustainable fibers, including flax, wood, organic hemp, bamboo, virgin, and come in a full line of sizes in both booklets and cones. No GMOs, no chlorine, and no dyes in OCB papers. All OCB papers are plant to puff. OCB makes their own paper from their mill in Evian to the factories they own in Perpignan, France, with all fibers and packaging material sustainably farmed from within a 500-kilometer radius in the always sticks acacia gum grown in African fields that OCB has been reforesting for decades. Unlike most brands that buy their paper from a third party, OCB oversees the entire paper-making process, ensuring a century of quality straight to your hands. Our paper booklets are made in a facility that's powered by 100% green energy. These are the smoothest burning papers I've ever used, no doubt about that. Ask for OCB wherever you buy your papers and sample the entire line of products. In the meantime, OCB has an unreal deal for our listeners. Visit OCBUSA.com/chicklets to get 4 booklets of OCB papers, rolling papers, and a rolling tray for just $4.99. Super deal. You cannot beat it. The bundles were at $20. You get it for $4.99. Limited time only. Once again, follow OCB on Instagram at OCBUSA to stay in touch with the natural wonder of OCB. Must be 21 or older to buy the papers and follow the social accounts. Again, I swear by this stuff.
Love those. That's all I use now.
They're nice.
That's all I use now.
Yeah.
So thank you for sending them over.
OCB.
A great product. And that's how I roll mine.
Absolutely, man. You can't beat it. And for $5, I mean, honestly, I hadn't had a tray in so long. A rolling tray is so key to have.
best.
Oh, they
so
sent me
good.
2 of them.
Yeah, they're so good to have. They just,
They got the little one, too?
Yeah, instead of
Funky
like having
colors.
to find a piece of paper or rip off a fucking piece of cardboard from your Bud Light case or whatever. Just got a tray. You're good.
Yeah, it's probably not healthy.
Well, just don't smoke the case. What mentioned Naomi Osaka, the women's tennis player. She was playing the French Open, and she told him she doesn't like the press conferences. She has anxiety, depression. She has issues with them. If you've seen her press conferences in the past, she's very uncomfortable with them, and basically said, I don't want to take part in them. And the French Open threatened to, like, basically kick her out of the tournament. Like, and she called it bluff. She said, fuck you. I ain't playing then. Like, I don't want to do it. So one of the best young stars in the world leaves. And typical,
Did they threaten to kick her out, or was she getting fined?
Well, they said if she didn't meet her obligations, they would reserve the right to up to basically
Which I would assume the next press conference would have been worse and more of a build-up of whatever she was going through at the time. And
I feel like the only people that are upset about this are these butthurt sports writers who
That's it.
It's like these fucking dinosaurs,
Nerds.
buddy. Like, she doesn't want to talk to you, and they just they want to be able to, like, ask her certain questions, and in the end, they don't think that they can write an article good enough without hearing, like, these ridiculous answers that are never even that clear. They're like, how many times do you hear an athlete, especially in an individual sport, give like an enormously well thought out answer?
You know who's really good at
Jordan
it?
Spieth.
Spieth.
Jordan Spieth's awesome at it.
But also take that for what it is, and that's a treat that they're willing to open up like that, and that's not necessarily what you get with everyone.
What do they owe you?
Nothing.
What do these guys owe you? But I've seen articles like, no, we get their name out there. We show the public what you really like.
Dude,
they're not asking
anymore.
you to do that.
Buddy,
they don't need the promotion like they did 100 years ago.
Hey, she made 50 sheets last year. I think she's fucking good with your fucking.
She doesn't need
article.
the color.
It's gonna get 25.
She doesn't need she doesn't need the Paris Herald talking about her the dinner she had the night before.
She just did the cover of Dior, but I think she fucking good. Okay,
getting second,
pump the fucking brakes.
Getting second guessed by a bunch of English majors. And look, like, I majored in it. We're media. Like, guys come on our show. Obviously, we need that, but we don't, like, you don't have to do it. It's not part of the job. I wrote about the Bruins for years before I got a press pass, and I got in the locker room, and there was no difference. I wasn't getting anything more by getting canned quotes. The guys give you the same fucking routine shit over and over. And yeah, the media circles the wagons like, oh, we give you access, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, social media cut you guys out. Yeah, you're still vital, and
you're dinosaurs.
Yeah, the whole newspaper writing thing. It's not the era for that shit anymore.
And the craziest thing is, in an age where you talk about mental health and you talk about respecting it more and understanding where people are coming from, this girl is one of the top players in the world. She's made it clear that she's battling through some things in terms of public speaking. And you know what you do? You threaten her and you lose the talented stud that she is out of the biggest tournament in the world, or one of them, a major. They're fucking fools. And then the fact that some of them are actually sitting there and, like, upset with her, it's like, wake up. That's what it is, all right? You got bypassed. You guys are done. It's not what it once was, where you're saying 50 years ago nobody knew anything about anyone and the paper was all you had. Buddy, everyone's got 14 different things of social media. And like Biz said, you're making bank off sponsorships from Instagram posts.
Well, part of the issue, too, is sometimes when it isn't necessarily in a controlled setting and to what they want being said about themselves and how it's conveyed, or, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes these, like, little quotes can be taken and spun out of control, and it affects these athletes or whoever they may be to a certain degree. Especially if it's something that they didn't mean, and if they feel they hurt someone else's feelings. So a lot of times now, especially the ones who they do care and they do suffer from these types of things, they like doing it in a way more controlled setting. And if it's right after a match, it's like that's a vulnerable state for that person. They don't want to say the wrong thing. They want to maybe consult their coach, who they trust first, on maybe what they saw. So I don't know what. And keep in mind, how old is this girl?
She's a young woman. I think she's 22 years old, maybe. Yeah.
I'm fucking 30, fucking 30. Or what am I?
Liar.
30?
He doesn't even know how old he is, folks.
I'm 36. All right. Fucking March 11th, 1985. Keep the change right there. Stat Guy Biz. I would fucking imagine dealing with that much pressure at that age and having to constantly. People don't understand.
The whole world is watching.
People don't understand.
Not everybody is personable and wants to share the stuff like that. A lot of people do, but I don't think it's part of the job like people say. If you're in sports, you guys are athletes, you guys are entertainers, but it's not part of the job as far as I'm concerned. I don't think there's an obligation to speak to media.
I'm not a fair guy to ask because I never had to deal with the pressures at that level. I was the fucking guy behind the scenes playing the music.
Yeah, but if you played bad music, the boys would give
That's
it to you.
True.
That's
that was worse.
Here's Jim from the Des Moines Register. How many pregame nuts in the locker room?
Hey, and also,
how many did you put in your belly button this afternoon, Paul?
It's just now you can say whatever you want through your own social channels.
Yeah.
And because that's around, why do they need to talk to you?
And
do it on your own terms.
Yeah.
They're going to do it. I think Tiger has signed something with, I don't want to say it's golf.com, but it's a website where he's only pretty much, he does a lot of stuff through them. And people get mad about it. It's like, dude, sorry. That's the way it goes now.
Yeah, and you understand people that's the industry. You don't want it to die off. It's never going to die off, but not every athlete wants to talk now, nor should they have to. So, we side with her. Again, especially when she comes out and says, this isn't good for me, it's not healthy for me, and then they fucking threaten to basically boot her out of the tournament. So I'm glad she gave them the fingers. They fucking deserve it.
Power
They
move.
idiots.
Power move by her.
I think, ironically, the guy who made the decision didn't answer questions in the media about the situation.
Yeah, he did. You're right. He wouldn't.
Wait,
he wouldn't answer questions.
Now,
I'm so happy you remembered that.
I plead the fifth.
But partly he may be saying, I don't want to make this about me and staying away from it, which that's the one of the other points from the other side, right? Is that fair to say?
Didn't the French Open make it about them when they started finding her?
Hey,
and
buddy,
putting out statements and stuff?
She's already got my endorsement. I'm just saying, I thought it was funny that he didn't. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, so we can move on. But good for her. Fuck that tournament.
Going to the entertainment front, I recommended to you guys a few weeks back, Mayor of Easttown on HBO Max, starring the wonderful Kate Winslet, Gene Smart. Tremendous show. I think True Detective might be when you're talking to HBO series.
Season 1 was sick.
Season 1, the top of the echelon of HBO great series. This one's up there, man. The plot got a little convoluted at times. I'm not going to spoil it. I know you guys haven't seen it. It was a murder mystery, but it was about the woman. The title, Mayor of Easttown. It was about her and everything she was going through. And Kate Winslet was in Titanic 24 years ago. She's incredible. She's she plays this kind of gruff detective who's going through shit, but you're rooting for her the whole time. Gene Smart, who's been doing incredible work lately, but there's a woman, Julianne Nicholson, who, by the way, she's right down the street from Medford, Massachusetts.
Sean Bates.
Yep, Sean Cucker Bates. She's from the same town. She plays her best friend in the show, and I'm not going to get into the plot because there'll be spoilers. Dude, the last couple episodes, this woman engrave her Emmy right now. She did some of the most incredible acting I've seen in TV in ages, and phenomenal. It was I was sitting there with chills, almost you're welling up watching this fucking show. It's amazing the reactions you can get watching this art that you just don't expect to happen.
I'm looking forward to checking it out, and I saw, I don't know if it was the director, but somebody said to Winslet in a sex scene, hey, I think she had a little bit of a belly, and he's we'll clean that up, and she goes, you will not. And she made sure that, she's that's my body. Don't fucking try to, So it was pretty, legit of her to say,
Good for
what do you,
her.
yeah, I know. She's, fuck you. That's how I look.
Is Meryl Streep one of the GOATs?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I feel like she's on that path. She's she's taken extremely serious. Meryl Streep's the
she's
GOAT,
she is.
right?
I think.
But Winslet doesn't do that much, does she?
She's got 6 six nominations.
But I think
what was her most recent thing? Sorry,
Meryl Streep's pretty selective about what she does, though.
Yeah, but she's been in this 50 years, right?
Yeah, she's been actually, Deer Hunter '78, I believe, was her first movie because she was dating John Cazale, who played Fredo
43
Corleone.
years.
That's fucking.
I just don't remember Kate Winslet's most recent movie. That was she was awesome.
That's Patrick Marlowe. Games played. Just 43 years in the film industry.
Yeah, her first. Yeah, going back to
that's
Street.
a grind.
Yeah, the Deer Hunter. I'm pretty sure it was her first movie. John, the guy who played Fredo Corleone, that was her boyfriend at the time. And he was dying when they filmed The Deer Hunter. You ever see The Deer Hunter, the Vietnam movie, won Best Picture in 78? He was actually dying of cancer when they made that movie. They filmed all of his scenes first because he was in such bad shape. And they are, like, Meryl Streep and him were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. And she, like, stayed with him throughout the whole thing. Yeah.
Oh.
He was in 5 movies in the 70s. All 5 were nominated for Best Picture. Yeah. John Cazale, actually born in Revere, Mass. He's buried at I think St. Mary's Cemetery, right over the bridge. So, as for Kate Winslet, what was she in recently? Yeah, like Mayor of Easttown before that. Nothing major that jumps out.
What I said.
Dips. If she ain't seeing nothing she likes, she dips out.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Even after Titanic, she was getting off at everything.
She's not Nicolas Cage,
and she took like off the beaten path.
Well, she never bought a dinosaur skull that he needed to like make mortgage payments on.
Hey, who was taught? Oh, I think Sean, our videographer here, has done movies before, and he's worked with Nicolas Cage, and he says one of the best actors. And he says so once he gets it, like and the director's like, okay, we got it. Now we'll let you ad lib a little bit. He usually does about 5 to 6 takes where they get more and more and more ridiculous of him ad libbing. But he says he fucking nails it every time, and he'll bring it to the point where people behind the scenes are like chuckling because it's just so like it's.
He's so tapped and has become like crazy. The stories you hear, but if The Rock's on TV, I'm watching it.
Yeah.
Gone in 60 Seconds, he's good.
Oh, yeah, Con Air.
And Con Air.
Con Air
is phenomenal. He's got that long skullet.
Oh, I get the Ally
Dude,
Afraidy.
what's his name? So good in that? John Malkovich?
He's got the Ally Afraidy going. Oh, just grease.
Dude, Nicolas Cage has a rocket one-timer. I've seen him playing street hockey. I'm not kidding you.
Oh, no way. Yeah,
losers whine about trying their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Yep, you're a Sean
Connery. 10 out of 10, folks.
You're a Sean Connery guy. You're a Sean. That was Jeopardy too. Like fuck.
I watched another documentary. I tweet about. Told you guys. It's called The Donut King on Hulu. I threw it on a whim.
There's a Donut King in Quincy. It's so good too. They got Keno and shit,
dude. Never knew nothing about this. It was a guy, Ted Noy. I forgot how to pronounce his name. He was a Cambodian refugee. There was a war in Cambodia. Khmer Rouge came in the 70s. They were basically dictators. All these people had to flee. And the United States took in tons of Cambodian refugees. The Marines built all these like camps for them to live in. This guy came over with like his wife, 3 kids, a niece, a nephew, with nothing, not a penny in his pocket. He was working like 4 or 5 jobs. He had a donut one day, and he asked the woman, like, if I saved $3,000, could I open a donut shop? And she said, no, go to Winchell's and go to their bakery program. So Winchell's Donuts was a huge thing in the 70s in California. This guy took the bakery class. He ends up eventually opening his own shop. Opens another one, and then when Cambodian refugees would come over, they needed a sponsor. He would sponsor these families, and he would put these people on the track to be bakers for donuts. Right now, dude, there are like 2,000, I think, donut shops in California that are family run by Cambodian families.
Wow!
All because of this guy fled a war situation, started learned how to make donuts, and it became like a Cambodian thing. I don't know if it's everyone in the North America would there's a lot of Vietnamese guys who do like hardwood floors around here. I don't know if it's all over the country. There's tons of Vietnamese guys.
The guys who did my floors, Vietnamese, they were animals too. They work so hard, and I tell you. I think all the other quotes we got were all Vietnamese. You're right.
Yeah, it's a niche thing that when they come to this country, they learn the trade and they do it amongst themselves. And the Cambodian donut thing, I never knew about it. It was fascinating. And you think of how history plays out. This dictatorship takes over, pushes people out of the country. The guy comes here, starts a donut shop, and all these people got a living off of it.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because I'm not going to give away this. Kind of takes a U-turn. Of all right, this guy was living on the hog, and then it's oh, wait a minute. It's a fascinating documentary about a guy, and you walk away
Hulu?
Hulu, the Donut King. When you watch it, it's a quintessential American dream story, and you walk away with a smile on your face. Definitely recommend it if you're looking for something to watch.
All right, I love that.
Only one I had was Halston. Was the
Netflix,
American fashion designer. I think it's a 6-part. I don't want to say series because it's episodes. I think it's 1 season long, and who's the main actor? You know him.
Ewan McGregor.
And he was excellent, and he's probably one of the most famous fashion designers to ever live, and probably the first established one in the United States of America.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out.
And yeah, it's a dark road. You maybe don't leave with that same smile on your face that RA's talking about, but a good show.
Tonight, Hurricanes at the Garden. If you're in town, come by. We'd love to see you. We love our fans. Bruins, Islanders, Game 3.
Peace.
If you're a Forsey doctor, reach out to me, please.
Go Bees.